Today's episode comes to you from the Blue Chew Studio. When you buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get the third for free with promo code MyWorld. You'll also receive an additional 10% off plus free overnight shipping on your first order at BlueChew.com. Hey, it's Conrad the Mortgage Guy, and you're listening to My World. And of course, we couldn't do it without the Hall of Famer, the greatest professional wrestler of all time, your friend and mine, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, how are you, man?
Oh, Conrad Thompson. We're going to start a little different. You got all me. You slapped my wrist last week, said I talked too much at the beginning. So I'm just going to.
All right. Well, let me give you my Jeff Jarrett impression.
Do it.
Oh, Connie, what a weekend. World Cup, got Fanatics Fest, got a big AEW pay-per-view this weekend, Cats football, Vice TV, Dark Side, did a little fallout, caught a little fishing, got the new meta glasses for my birthday, went around the lake. That's a story for another time. Nashville, AEW, tomorrow night, the Pinnacle. Something about it. I mean, it's the story behind the story. Boy, oh boy. You get to get one show, one ticket, y'all, and you get to see not only Dynamite, but Collision too. And Connie, you're going to love that. Oh, that's right. You were at that building. Now, I know you're going to try to pull my chain, and we're going to talk a little bit about the palm and carrot cake and 3 cheese potatoes, but enough of that. I don't even know what you're all going to throw to me. We got some footage later today that nobody's ever seen before and a very special guest. I was talking to the Queen this morning. It don't matter. Conrad, how are you? How are you doing today, bud?
You only left one thing out. We got our buddy Tony coming on the show. But other than that, you checked absolutely every, it's summertime.
Wait. A lot of chatter. A lot of chatter about this heat. I mean, it's been so damn hot.
The Queen is TikToking away. She's wearing me out, but all good, Connie. Good to see you today on a My World recording day. We got a nice studio audience, lots of fun. That was good. That was really good.
We're having a lot of fun. We hope you guys are too. This is going to be a fantastic show. Serious business. We do have Tony from Heritage Auctions. We're going to be showcasing some other new pieces from the Jeff Jarrett collection behind the scenes, and it is available now at ha.com. But we're going to be joined by an unsung hero of the good old days, an OG, a TNA original. And it may not even be someone who's on your radar, but when I tell you you're in for a treat, stay tuned to the end of the show. It's going to be unbelievable. I can't wait for you guys to see it. But before we get into all that, this is AEW pay-per-view weekend. And coincidentally, the go-home episode of Dynamite and Collision, well, they're coming from Nashville. Tickets are on sale now at AEWTIX.com. I was fortunate enough to be in that building the day before Thanksgiving last year. And my goodness, what a venue. Not a bad seat in the house. I absolutely love it. Can't wait to be there again tomorrow. Hope to see you there. I'm going to be there running around. Love to see you if you're in town. Come say hello. But Jeff, the pay-per-view this weekend, it always feels like we say it every month. AEW always delivers on pay-per-view. I have a feeling this will be no different. Now we know that Kenny Omega is going to be defending the AEW world title against Kevin Knight. The Jet, he's coming in with more successful title defenses for that TNT championship than there has ever been from any prior champion. He is the most fighting TNT champion in history, and he gets his shot. This is the biggest match of Kevin Knight's career, don't you think, Jeff?
By far, and that is something that gets me super fired up for Kevin. Is when he came in, I was introduced to him. We chatted it up. We got a good, joking, friendly relationship. But all kidding aside, this is a career, and I know he knows the pressure that's on him because Omega and him, his promo and how he's crafted things, Kenny has always risen to the occasion. Certainly he's sat in that seat. This is Kevin's night. We're going to find out when he gets up to the plate how he's going to do. So I think people will feel the nerves, if you will, or the anticipation. He's got a big night coming up in Montreal this weekend. So happy for him. Very excited to see how he seizes this opportunity.
I can't wait to see Kenny Omega in a big-time AEW title defense. Like Kenny Omega feels like he pulls out all the stops, and knowing that there is a young whippersnapper coming
Yep.
for him. He's going to have his A game. It's going to be a great match. Can't wait. I'm also fired up about Tekla. I don't know that me and you have talked about this, but she is my favorite female performer. I hope my sister-in-law doesn't hear this. But I've loved her run. I think it's tremendous. And Willow Nightingale, I mean, she's got to be one of the more beloved figures, not just in AEW, but all of wrestling. If you had to pick this one, Tekla, Willow, who you got?
Tekla. And Willow's the mainstay and climbed that mountaintop a couple of times. But, you know, when you said she's your favorite, and you're not obviously privy to all the backstage stuff, that young lady is a businesswoman. She takes the game serious. And I say that I have witnessed it. You know, when she first came in and they were the different lighting, and it wasn't her, but they were rehearsing, Conrad, one day, her entrance, not really her part. It's camera and lighting and the shoot, how they're going to shoot.
The blocking and all that.
Oh, man, she did, I call it take one, as strong as she did take 37. They went over and over and over it. And I just kind of went and looked. I said, okay, this young lady takes her business serious. And so that's a credit to her. So, yeah. She'll come out this weekend smelling like a rose. She's super good.
Cage and Cope going to be taking on Pac and Claudio for the AEW tag team titles. So we got the Death Riders getting a tag title shot. We'll also see Kyle Fletcher and Bandito for the international title. We'll see Mark Davis and Andrade El Idolo. Pretty fired up about that one for the national championship. We've got Sheeta and Maya World. Maya World stole the show. I don't know that Dave Meltzer knows that, but maybe he'll watch it one day. But you and I watched the show on pay-per-view, or I guess you were in the building, and you thought it was the best match on the card. So did Cage Match. And even the viewing party at my house, we all kept shaking our hands saying, man, Mercedes and Maya over-delivered. This could be Maya World's time. Can't wait for this one. But how about the match that was set last week on Collision? Tommaso Ciampa versus not just any old Chris Jericho, but the Painmaker. Chris Jericho is back. This is going to be no holds barred. You know it's going to be a spectacle. But maybe the match I'm looking forward to the most over the weekend, Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. I know there's been some chatter online about everybody looking forward to the big show at Wembley Stadium. But man, this one in particular, I think this could steal the show. Ospreay and Moxley versus the Young Bucks. What are you looking forward to the most this weekend, Jeff?
Young Bucks are show stealers, but I can't even call it a dark horse match. But Fletcher, I think that match. I don't want to say it's a sleeper or it's a dark horse. I just don't think you can say it about any individual. Bandito has had, and I don't want to give him a star rating and all that, but he's just had some blowaway matches, and so has Kyle. My gut tells me Bucks are going to have a awesome Omega. We've kind of hit on those. I think Cage and Cope, homegrown fellas, Canadians always support fellow Canadians. I'm just going to, and you said Tekla could be. Maya, man, I'm hoping she has a solid performance. You know, coming out in her freshman effort, and I'll give the sports analogy, the sophomore slump, if you will, could be a possibility. And I don't want anybody to rain on her for that, because it's just, I think it's going to be everybody's going to be anticipating Maya to top last month. That's just super, super hard. But Fletcher Bandito is to me the one that I think is going to jump off the page at everybody.
I can't wait to see it. I can't tell you how much I enjoy AEW pay-per-views. Like, obviously, I'm a wrestling fan. Everybody listening to this knows how big of a wrestling fan I am, literally and figuratively. But the idea that AEW over-delivers to the degree they do, I mean, I'm counting the days down, Jeff. I'm really fired up about this. Now, on the other channel, there is another big show coming your way, SummerSlam. Of course, we just had Saturday night's main event in Madison Square Garden. It was a part of Fanatics Fest. There was a lot of chatter online about, oh, they're not selling any tickets. I think when it was all said and done, they were just about 1,100 shy. And everybody's chatting about SummerSlam. And there's been this narrative that, hey, they're not selling enough tickets. This is a monumental collapse. I don't know how much of that I buy into, because I think right now they're around 30,000 a night, which is going to be monster. Like in any other Metric, any other wrestling company in period, back-to-back nights with around 30,000 feels like a huge Herculean high fives all around. But I do know there's been a little bit of discussion and chatter over the weekend, Jeff, because they reduced ticket prices for SummerSlam. So they come out hot and tickets are expensive. Now they've gotten down to where they're like $25 or something. And I actually saw a pretty fun video or a fun quote from IP Videos, who I follow over on Twitter. And he said the key isn't how much at the box office, it's that they can't have a minimal attendance when they are selling rights fees to the cities. $43 for decent seats in the $100 level isn't terrible. I agree. This is a very affordable ticket. You know, the 100, obviously, as you go up, you've got floor and then 100 and then maybe mezzanine and then 100 and then 200 and then maybe 300. So that's a pretty good value. But I think that IP Videos here has hit the nail on the head. It's less about the gate. Obviously, the gate's important, but they didn't just randomly get a good deal and decide to go to Minnesota. They got a rights fee for that. And part of that is about number of people through the turnstiles and how far they had to travel to get there. Like, what sort of economic impact are you going to make in the Twin Cities when we write you this check for coming here or give you tax credits or whatever it may be? So they're going to be doing everything they can to get bodies in the door. We just saw them do a kickoff over the weekend. Now they've discounted tickets. And I think online, sometimes people start waving their flags and they say, oh, this must mean it's failing. It's not that. They're making money. They're going to make a bunch of money on this, but it's more about how do we keep the rights fees going at this point, at least in my opinion. Don't you think?
Oh, Conrad, I think we got spoiled for 2 years.
Yes.
and look, me and you are right in the middle of all of it. But just also, when I say spoiled, just all the way around. I mean, TNA had a hot run, AEW, Wembley, and then Globe Life, and then of course WWE. You name it. You know, multiple kind of stadium shows, and also on top of that, Netflix announcement. We could go on, and I mean, just AEW's renewal, and then ESPN. What's so interesting is, I'll call it the chess game that I'm trying to continually watch that TKO's doing, because as you just said, rights fees, it's just fascinating. I won't get long-winded on this, but it's fascinating that how they've lowered the prices a couple of times now, but they're meeting metrics that we're not aware of. I'm just curious to watch all of it. And we're probably going to run into this in the next couple of big PLEs for WWE, just how they navigate it, and the stock, stock being down. I don't know. I'm totally rambling here, but it's fascinating to watch the business side of things.
We didn't spend much time talking about the stock being down, but it's been pointed out that if you look at it from a market cap standpoint, TKO is down billions this year. But I don't know how much of that is WWE and how much of that is UFC, respectfully. And I know that it was a victory lap for everybody, when the Netflix deal was announced for WWE, and then later when the Paramount deal was announced for UFC. But a different way of looking at that, and I talked to you about this at the time, I said, hey, this is how I think they kill the UFC. Because once upon a time, the UFC was always built on the old school promoter. Hey, let's make the biggest fights and have the biggest promotion and tell the biggest stories to try to sell the most tickets for the most money possible. But if you're going to do that, that means you've got to pay the fighters commensurate. And now you no longer have to guess or wonder what your income is going to be. You have a fixed income. So you know exactly how much income is coming in. So it's not like, let's shoot for the moon and see how high we can run up the total. We know what the total is now. So now the only way we can not be profitable is if we overspend. So there's only really two ways to do that, is to grow revenues outside of the pay-per-view money, which is now a rights fee from Paramount, or to cut expenses and cut overhead. And we've already started to see WWE do this. And I know when people say, I wish there weren't so many ads, guys, that's the only way they can make new money for themselves or for Netflix, because Netflix, for the first time ever, Jeff, is reporting, maybe it's not the first time ever, but it feels like the first time in forever, where they're not going to meet expectations. They're not going to meet their number. Netflix has for a long, long time been the only profitable streaming service. And now it feels like some of that is coming into question. But I think it goes back to, if you've got a fixed income, yes, you know you're going to be profitable, But if you're not putting up the bigger fights, and the only new way to grow revenues is to shove in as many commercials as you can, the consumer experience is not the same. This is a different business right now. And I think a lot of people who are having conversations about, oh, well, ticket sales are down or ratings are down or blah, blah, blah. Hey, the game has changed. The income is fixed now. So now, yes, they're going to go to former wrestlers like Sheamus and say, we can't pay you for past performance. We need you to take a pay cut. Yes, you're going to sit through more ads than you do wrestling because that's the only way they can grow the revenues. Like, respectfully, if they sold 1,000 more tickets at $23, Jeff, it's $23,000. One ad in the show is going to cost a multiple of that. So it's like, what's easier to do? You know what I mean? Like, it's a no-brainer, at least to me. I think the wrestling business has changed, and we're still having a lot of conversation online about the way things used to be.
Because there's so much to unpack to what you just said, but top line, yes, the business, this is a new game. It's changed. TKO, UFC reflects on WWE, and WWE reflects on UFC from the back end business side. It is just a completely different era on that side. The one thing, and I mentioned this to here on Ariel, the short game business has changed because you can sign a Netflix deal, because you can sign an ESPN deal, because you can charge a premium for everything, is because your product's hot. If your product cools, okay, you're all right. But if it gets cold, Conrad, that value's down, and your ads, the advertisers not only won't pay that premium, they kind of quit knocking and they go to another sport or another entertainment, or a movie's gotten hot. So the balance of keeping your product hot comes into play. And how does it come into play, and when does it come into play? And that's where you're looking, I think, real time at the yin and the yang of, AEW delivers, let's say, 13 matches, 9 on pay-per-view, 4 on 0 hour or buy-in, 13-ish. So 10 to 12, we'll just call it that. WWE delivers 4 to 6. I don't know. And it just, the long play here. Do they care? Yeah, they care, but not more than they care about the 90-day stock return. I don't know. The game has changed. I should have just shut up when you said that. I'm trying to be very conscientious today, Conrad, about not being long-winded. So,
hush! Will you stop?
I'm being serious, though. But like, you follow where I'm going, is the long-term play. You got to keep your business hot. We'll see.
We will see. We'll also see what they're doing storyline wise. I know that there's been a lot of chatter over the weekend about Fanatics Fest. Some people maybe weren't thrilled to hear Roman Reigns sort of dismiss Oba and say, we'll see if he can get through the wilderness. He's got a long way to go before he can get a title shot, even though he just won King of the Ring. Some people are speculating, hey, I wonder if that means he doesn't want to work Oba at Mania. And then we hear Seth Rollins come out at Fanatics Fest and say something like, if you smell what I'm cooking. And then people start saying, I wonder if that means, and it does make you wonder, does that mean we might see Rock and Roman at WrestleMania next year? But we've got what looks like babyface versus babyface with Punk and Cody. Maybe we're starting to see some tweeners and that come apart. I think we're going to get somebody step up in a big way as a heel. It feels like there's too much tweener stuff going on right now. We need a white hot heel, I would think. Don't you think?
Well, the business always needs it. It's what drives. Don't get me on my soapbox there. It drives everything. A hot heel. If you've got a hot heel, you can do business in an exceptional level. But yeah, Conrad, I don't know. I think keep the main thing. And you just kind of ran through, we'll call it Roman and Oba, or maybe not Oba. And then you went Seth and Punk Cody and, Gunther and Lord, there's proof that I've been high on Nick Aldis for 10 years.
I'm so excited for him. I mean, how great is this, dude?
Come on, I'm so personally happy. He's a Nashvilleian and has been quite a while, but for long journey, him to get this slot, because at the end of the day, the chatter that is being created around Gunther right now may be the most chatter he's had, and correct me if I'm wrong, please do, since he retired Cena. And so if the story's there, the story's there, which is cool. But I'm going back to pecking order. What is the top story, and who is the hot heel in WWE?
I think they're trying to position it where the top stories are Seth and Roman and Punk and Cody. It feels like those are going to be the night one and night twos. You throw in Oba and Brock, and you've got, like, there is stuff to sink your teeth into and get excited for. But I'm like you. I like it when there is a heel champion. Like, as an adult, when I go back and I watch wrestling from back in the day, I certainly prefer Flair being the heel champion, taking on all the baby faces, versus Hogan versus a heel factory, where you kind of know what to expect. Like, no disrespect, but I never thought for a second that Bad News Brown was going to beat Hulk Hogan
or Kamala
or the Big Boss Man, or like, we know that's not going to happen.
Different
but then
model.
All of a sudden, you would see, Ricky Steamboat beat Ric Flair, Ron Garvin beat Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes beat Ric Flair. Like, wait a minute, what? Yes. And I know that sometimes there is a difference in philosophy, but I think it's even proven out on AEW. Like, I know nobody likes MJF, most of all me. I mean, I hate that rat bastard. He's just a terrible person. I don't follow him on social. He's not a good guy. However, I can say this: the dude is a good heel. Like, in terms of making you hate him, I hate him. And I'm not even talking about like, oh, I don't like him as a wrestler. No, I don't like him. And when you've got a guy who can be really hateable like that, and the baby faces are coming from every direction after him, I don't know. That's what I prefer as a wrestling fan. I don't know that we have a heel in that spot. Now, we may after SummerSlam weekend, we'll see, but it is going to be interesting what they do, I think, starting at SummerSlam, because it feels like this year, maybe the SummerSlam. I know that Royal Rumble is when we say, oh, now we're in WrestleMania season. I think we can start charting the course after SummerSlam. Don't you?
You have to.
Yeah.
But going into it, lots up in the air. But again, how do they view SummerSlam? You just talked about fixed revenue. Do they really need SummerSlam to deliver a monster number? Is it really a setup for January, February, and March? I don't know. It's the metrics. The game has changed, to finish that sentence, in all the metrics on who and what they are measuring. I don't know.
All right, right now, I just want to tell you guys a quick business story. You've heard Jeff talk about the importance of being a small business owner, and we're going to talk more about that in today's episode. My only wish is that Jeff knew about Quo way back then. I have to admit, I have been advertising my mortgage company, I think in 2009 was the first year I started. I started with radio and TV, and then it grew to there. You hear my mortgage ads on these podcasts all the time. But what I found is, hey, we can spend all the time in the world working on copy and creative and make the world's most perfect ad. But if when that customer tries to reach us, if we're not easy to buy from, we have wasted our time. When I understood how important speed of communication is, I mean, that's really what we're talking about is time kills all deals. That's a saying in every sales organization. And if you're a small business owner, you know what I'm talking about. But there's nothing worse than losing consumer confidence. Another thing you hear us talk about here on My World all the time. You want your customer to feel like they're important. You want them to feel cared for. You need to be available when they need you. Quo can help you fill in the gaps. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo. It's spelled Quo. This is the business phone system built so you never miss another opportunity. All of your calls, all your texts, all your voicemails, they all live in one place. So anyone can pick up the team and the conversation right where it left off. They'll see the full history and be able to respond quickly. Now, that matters for me specifically because when do people go look at buying houses? They go on the weekend. Well, guess what? Most mortgage companies, mine included, it's not regular office hours. Nobody's at the office on a Sunday morning when people are trying to ride by open houses. But if they hit us with Quo, we got everything we need. Because Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2. They don't just help my business. They help over 90,000 businesses who rely on it to stay reachable and look professional every day. Here's how easy it is too. You can set up Quo in minutes on any device. Yes, including the one you're listening to this podcast on. You can keep your existing phone number. You can add teammates as you grow, and you don't have any IT issues. You don't need to call a guy. It's hassle free. Quo even has an AI agent that can help you handle your calls after hours. When you finally need to unplug, Quo can help support you there. They can even answer questions, even help book appointments. You'll never miss a lead, even when your team is offline. Quo is going to help you not miss those opportunities. Quo can even work with the tools that your team is already using. Like at my office, we use HubSpot and Zapier and Claude, a lot of others, and they all just plug right into Quo. It blew me away. I don't understand all the details, but they've got an API integration that means everything I was already using, Quo just fits right in. What does it mean for me? It means my team can stay on time and save time, stay organized, and spend less time chasing information between systems. It has been seamless for me. I think you'll love it. I want you to try it. Take it from me. Money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/myworld. That's QUO.com/myworld. Did you happen to see the leaked, not leaked, worked, shoot backstage promo with Punk and Cody?
I did not.
So they posted it, and Cody is yelling at the cameraman, "Hey, don't shoot this. Put that down." And he does it twice. And then later they went back and they deleted the video. So we all know it's intentional, but I'm just saying.
I love it. No,
Yeah,
I play the game.
Great use of social media, which you've harped on a lot here on the show. By the way, social media was lit up like a Christmas tree over the weekend when it came out that WWE is going to have a presence here in America for WrestleMania. It's going to be an MSG. They're going to be doing a watch along party inside the MSG theater. They're also going to be doing something with AAA and with NXT. That's all happening next year, WrestleMania weekend. Now, of course, a lot of people, myself included, were under the impression, well, if WrestleMania is going to be in Saudi Arabia, if I were a betting man, I would think that AEW probably wants to go head to head and run a super event and maybe in the New York market. And now we found out that not so fast, my friend. WWE may be steadfast in, you're not going to run MSG. We're going to do our little watch along in the theater. What do you think of this? I mean, I know that some people get hot and bothered about it. I think it's great for the business.
So it's going to be a watch party during the day and
the show's at night. That's right.
Two shows, but simultaneous. It's the same show, right?
I don't know. I don't even think they've given us a date yet, Jeff.
Oh, okay. But anyhow, okay. So the watch party. Look, when and we texted about this a little bit, when the guard numbers going into Saturday Night Main Event, quote unquote, we're not a sellout. I immediately I know how, and I know he's no longer there, but the chairman, how Vince viewed the Garden. I know how his father viewed the Garden. That is the home base, the territory that they protected, that you made sure you gave them the best of the best of the best of everything. It's just that now I don't think TKO views it that way. And, you can go back a few years ago when ROH and New Japan slid in the back door and got there. But that being said, to me, it lines up with the strategy. And I also think I'd love to know the building hold, Conrad, they have there. I don't know if that's been leaked or studied or whatever it may be, just in case Saudi.
What do you mean the hold? You mean if there is a backup, like they're holding it, or do you mean the capacity?
No. Do they hold it? Do they have, if they need to load in, could they, what's in that show, what's in the building on Thursday and Friday?
Here's the best part, Jeff. Thursday and Friday of what?
Okay.
Press, that's what I'm saying. When has there been a WrestleMania where we didn't know the date at the end of July? We've always known the date of next year's WrestleMania by the end of July. Do you know why we don't know the date?
Tell me.
Because they don't want AEW to counter program it right now. It's got to be the only reason. But if I'm a diehard AEW fan and I want to make plans, or WWE fan, and I want to make plans to travel to Saudi Arabia to see WrestleMania, because by the way, I don't know, I'm not saying I'm going to go to Saudi, but I would say it sounds like a cool experience. And if I've never been, and I'm probably not going to go for something like a King of the Ring or the Greatest Royal Rumble or something like that. If I was ever going to go as a wrestling fan to Saudi Arabia, it would be WrestleMania that would make me go.
But buddy, you need a calendar.
I got to know when. I got to get passports. I got to get airfare. I got to get hotels. And here we are at the end of July, and we don't even have a freaking date. So when they're saying, oh, you'll be able to watch WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden Theater, great. What day is that on? We don't know. It's hard to wrap your head around, Jeff.
Boy, you ain't kidding. I kind of glossed over that. Okay.
It is the most counter programming thing ever, and I love it. We talked about it last week here on the show, or maybe you and I talked about it off air. But now we know that they're counter programming, not next year, this year, September, when AEW comes back, 1 month after All In, they're running All Out. Now that's at the Now Arena. Tickets on sale now at AEWTIX.com. Now Arena is what it's called now, but way back in 2018, it was called the Sears Center. And there's a bronze plate out front with Cody and the Bucks right there for the OG All In. It is in a suburb of Chicago, but so is the Rosemont Horizon, which we now call the Allstate Arena. And that's where we'll see not one, but two promotions running head to head that night, both WWE adjacent. Of course, I'm talking about NXT and AAA. They're going to be running the Rosemont Horizon, which, you know, was the home of WrestleMania 13, not just the same market, the same town on the same day, head to head,
20 minutes apart.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
So a little bit of a theory out there. The sporting analogy, play to win, not to lose.
Yes.
When I first heard this, that was the first initial thought that, and you know, the old business analogy, you have McDonald's on one corner. Mm-hmm. Oh God, don't put up a Burger King across the street. It'll never sell. Oh, no. It will make McDonald's business go up because that's the corner that you go buy burgers. I think in a weird, unique way, or maybe not a weird, unique way, I think they gave AEW a boost by announcing that. I do. I think when you make a decision and then all of a sudden put it in front of the face, that I just think the AEW story, the emotional engagement, if you're a wrestling fan, because let's face it, NXT is their third 3A and AAA 3B or whatever it may be. And I know Chicago is a Hispanic market or a strong one. But like if you're going to make the wrestling fan choose, I'm not so sure this hadn't helped us just from that. It was a head scratcher to me that on the surface, oh yeah, go in there and run head up. Well, I don't know. They may be looking at it from their perspective that, hey man, we need some help. We're going to go in there and getting that kind of that buzz, but I don't know. What's your thoughts on it, Connie? Because I think it helps us. I do.
Dude, I'm excited about it. And just want to throw this out at you too, because it's a AAA show as well. I think you'll appreciate this. What percentage of Chicago would you guess is Hispanic?
Oh, I'd love to drill it, but you're asking me. So, okay. Yeah. Let's go.
Percentage, not number.
Yeah. No, let's go 27%.
29.7. You were within spitting distance. Roughly 800,000 potential Hispanic lucha fans.
It's huge.
Plus, we know it's going to be, I mean, let's just be honest, it's going to be a badass show. I know a lot of fans that are AEW diehards, myself included, we're like, oh man, they're kind of programming. And that is the first response because I'm like, I'm pulling for AEW. But at the same time, then I'm like, wait a minute. These performers on both shows are going to go out there and have the match of their life and do their very best Jerry Lee Lewis. Hey, follow that, killer. Because everybody's going to want to steal the show. So myself, I immediately said, hey, let's get a StarCast going. So I've got requests for proposals out because if I can bring a StarCast where I know there's a AAA show and an AEW show, and I mean, come on, like there's going to be so many wrestling fans. This went from being, hey, I might want to go to Chicago to see All Out to, hey, every wrestling fan in America is going to be paying attention to Chicago. It's the place to be September 26th now. I want to be there.
Come see live, My World, and Conrad Thompson will be in attendance. We got to book it, my man.
Oh, dude, we're going to have live podcasts there that weekend for sure.
And
We're going to have
speaking
a
of
lot
that,
of fun.
I was hoping today, Conrad, I'd have all the details finalized. Let's just say this. Stay tuned to My World Socials later this week. Across the pond, we got some news about My World shows coming up. So yeah,
I love to hear it.
Get to finalize it. Our crackpot producer, Waffle Stomp and Mr. Silva, we're formulating, but we hadn't dotted all the T's, crossed all the T's, but stay tuned. We got some news across the pond from My World.
Well, we got to cover some more news because I know that you have been put through the ringer emotionally in the last few weeks with Dark Side of the Ring. You had to get out and do the heavy lifting the week before to promote it. And then there were the 2 show weeks, and man, you had to be getting it from every angle. We were live, not once, but twice. Those are in our archives right now at myworldpod.com. Hope you'll check them out where you were doing a live Q&A. Now that you've had a chance to let some of the dust settle, what'd you think? How are you feeling about it today?
I mean, at the end of the day, the first thing that comes to mind when I've been asked this, and obviously I've been asked this personal and private, and I go and I know I've said this in different avenues. Those who believe, no explanations needed. Those who don't, no explanation will do. I truly believe that. I'm grateful for Vice, Dark Side of the Ring, Evan, Stu, all the researchers, all the cameramen, the people that dug in and literally flew all over the country and drove all over the country, and Father Jim Mitchell and D-Lo and Vince and Eric and oh Lord, Cornette. I mean, I don't want to leave anybody out. All the people, Kong, everybody that's involved. I really appreciate it. I mean, it has been an amazing, emotional experience. It was not easy, and that's from a family perspective. That during that time, it was really tough, and so when you have to, in essence, kind of relive all that. But I am, I'll say this: do I wish Dixie Carter would have appeared on camera? Yes. Do I wish Kurt Angle would have appeared on camera? Yes. Do I wish Dutch Mantell and Jeremy Borash? Do I wish we would have had 6 hours? It's all I could go on and on and on, but it wasn't. But Conrad, it was, like I said, super emotional. But I made, and look again, it was a tough. But there are things that I look back on and I don't regret. But man, oh man, I made horrible mistakes throughout my life that put myself and my family in different difficult positions. I had birthday lunch with my stepmom last week, and we got to kind of reminisce, the dark days were brought up, and we can laugh and smile about, the tough times we went through, and, the reconciliation and the conversations that I had, that I got to have with my dad. But all in all, I mean, I'm grateful because there are points in there that, yes, things were left out, and there were points in there that, and that, people are going to believe what they're going to want to believe. But I'm grateful, and I mean this, all of it, every single bit of it. I'm grateful for everybody who participated, and I'm grateful that the opportunity was there. And I hope people, I don't want to say enjoyed it, but that is a part of the entertainment. But also the amount of emails, and I'll call them the cold emails, Conrad, and we get them from time to time, or you get them, or Dave Green will get them, and our ad sales guy, and they don't want to buy ads, they want to send me a personal note. We always get those from time to time, but I can't tell you how many I've received. Oh boy, hey, and they usually open this line, I don't know if Jeff will ever see this, but here you go. And so I mean it. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do it. And I know I'm rambling then, Conrad, but the story of the recovery, and I know the third episode did double time because they had to. They just, folks, if you got to remember episodes 1 and 2, and then the network added 3, and they're like, oh boy, and they still had to rush through things. But man, oh man, the part on my recovery, I can. I put my head down on the pillow at night and know without question, I am super grateful hold zero anger or resentment, and I am happy as can be at where I'm at in life today.
I'm not trying to stir it up. I am trying to ask, though. You mentioned some people that you wish would have been in the doc. You listed, Dutch Mantel, Jeremy Borash, Dixie Carter, Kurt Angle. I think we all would have loved to have seen those people participate. For whatever reason, they didn't, or they weren't able to, or were otherwise booked or contractually not eligible, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask, have you heard from any of those 4 players about the documentary?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no. Yeah. Text with Dutch, and Dutch was having health issues at the time, which is so unfortunate. But and he's been attached to the dark side since season 1.
Episode 1. Yeah.
There you go. But just because he was there and he's a good storyteller, but I mean, but no, me and Dutch, no, I have not.
I did. We'll chat about that later. I did want to hit you with some Q&As that were left over from our live last week.
Oh Lord, there are a lot.
By the way, there's no way that we'll get to all of them, but we're gonna hit as many of them as we can right fast, and we'll hit these rapid fire because we've got a very special guest coming up to talk about the Jeff Jarrett collection. But you want to talk about surprise, as we used to say in Mayberry. Stay tuned for a very special interview. AOTV Productions wants to know, and I don't know why this tickled me. In your opinion, does Vince Russo have any redeeming qualities or not? Of course he does, right?
Yes. Oh, Benny Roo. I think the uniqueness, and I'm going to say, because he gets on his pod and he's got to be a lightning rod. Nobody's perfect. We all have flaws. He who without sin casts the first stone, but redeeming qualities, sure. Vince gets up like all of us every day, and he's Vince, and so love him or hate him or whatever in between, but we all have redeeming qualities, sir.
Is he? Has he given you an advanced copy of his book, Total Nonstop Agony?
No, he has not.
I plan to read it next week.
Do you really?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've already got it on my Kindle, but I'm kind of jammed up this week. But
okay,
if I don't get a chance to check it out Sunday, I will on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, and I'll have it licked by the time I talk to you.
Are you a speed reader, or do you go right?
I'm not going to say I'm a speed reader, but I'm going to say in 2 days in the pool, I can knock his book out.
Okay,
yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about a wrestling historian, and this is an interesting question because it's got to be bittersweet on a variety of levels. He wants to know, how did you feel when Dixie Carter resigned from TNA? So when it was all said and done, there's the power play, as you called it. We know how it turned out. It didn't turn out with her being the last man standing. Now it's been with Anthem. And there wasn't some big, great exit, which probably she had in mind one day, and maybe you did too. And it didn't really happen the way either one of you would have imagined. How did you feel when Dixie resigned from TNA?
I cannot go back to the moment when I heard it. I'd be lying if I did. And if you want to give me the year that happened, I know without question, when I went back in 2015, I was well aware that it was a very ugly situation. And contrary to some folks' belief, I had compassion then. I have compassion now. A really, really tragic, not just business story, a family story, because it certainly didn't turn out. And what I know now and going through all of that kind of stuff, that you can't fire me, I quit. It's a tragic story. So, I don't like to see anybody, no matter what she did to me and my family. I still, where I'm at today, even then, you don't want to see ill will. It's a tragic business and personal story.
There's no doubt about that. As a refresher, it was August of 2016. As a reminder, Bruce Pritchard and I were really getting our podcast kicked off the first weekend of
Oh, wow.
of August of 2016. And very quickly into our tenure, we did the story of TNA because it's what everybody was talking about with
Okay.
Billy Corgan and Dixie. So she was removed from her role as TNA president and stepped down to a chairwoman position in August of 2016 when Billy Corgan took over. But it was January of 2017 when she was out and just had a minority stake and no real power. And that's around the same time that Bruce Pritchard's phone rang and you were calling him because you were back in the saddle. So
that's when. Okay.
It is interesting that you guys became oil and water accidentally. It just didn't mean to be that way. It wasn't the intention. It just shook out that way.
As it shakes down. Yeah. Because Anthem was diving into the books in 16, obviously. And once they kind of knew that they were going to acquire the asset, that's when Ed Nordum and his folks at the direction of Lynn Asper said, start turning over rocks and let's figure this out. And Ed's words were, every rock we've turned over pointed to you. I'll never forget the breakfast I had at the downtown Hilton. And boy, oh boy, that single conversation was very interesting because of all the stuff they shared and what had happened in the past, how we arrived at, and where we were going in the future. So interesting.
Mick Spitz was with us, and he said people just don't realize that just by looking at the ratings metrics, after Vince Russo stopped writing, viewership dropped. Of course, there are a ton of other factors. I think a lot of those factors are talent as well. So no disrespect to Vince Russo, but there were different times in TNA when all of a sudden you'd see, hey, Jeff Hardy and RVD and a lot of other big stars come in and magically the ratings go up. And then when those stars aren't there, the ratings go down. Not saying that was all Vince Russo, but it's always a combination of factors. It's never just one thing, right?
Oh, song of the singer. I don't know what the exact question was, but is it the song or the singer, the reality that makes a number one hit? As we all know here on My World, it takes both.
Luis Martinez said, I like Eric and his podcast, but I stopped watching WWE for TNA. The TV wasn't the same when Hulk came in, and Aces and Eights was the worst thing ever. I am curious, did you have a chance to see any of the discourse last week? I did a podcast with Eric last week, just before Real American Freestyle in Milwaukee. And of course, everybody wanted to hear his opinion. He has yet to see Dark Side of the Ring. He was in the country of Georgia and then had a big event the 5 days later in Milwaukee. He's still not home. He's been gone for 2 weeks traveling. So he's yet to see it. But everybody had a strong opinion. I wanted to see if you had a chance to see it, or if you read anything online, or how you reconcile any of the Bischoff conversation, or is it water under the bridge, or where are you today now?
Well, what specific? Because I saw some, and I'm going to be respectful and be very candid. He's your business partner, so I don't think there's any upside for me to kind of. I'll let the court of public opinion. If you want to address any specific thing he said, one thing you just said is that he has not seen the episodes, but yet commented on them.
Well, I'm asking him about them because just because Eric's in Georgia doesn't mean the rest of the world didn't watch Vice TV.
Yeah, but he hasn't seen them.
He has not seen. So no, he's not seen anything on Vice. He's not seen a minute of footage. Now he sees some of the discourse, but it's hard for him to participate if he hasn't seen it himself to really. What am I responding to, sort of thing? But here's the headline, from my chat with Eric last week. Let me make one thing really clear. I had zero operational control of TNA. I couldn't hire anybody. I couldn't fire anybody. I didn't give anybody a raise, nor did I freaking want to. I wanted nothing to do with the operation of TNA. So much that I made it clear in my agreement that I'm not going to be involved in anything other than creative I had agreed to do and oversee. And Dixie was fine with that because she didn't want me involved either. Trust me. Neither did Dean Broadhead. They wanted to run TNA the way they wanted to run TNA, and I was more than happy to let them have that. So when we talk about the decisions Eric made, or in this case, which is really chicken shit, by the way, to all of a sudden be putting the heat on Hulk Hogan when he's not here to defend himself. Come on, guys. To suggest that either Hulk or I had the ability to kill that company is hilarious. I'd like to know the basis for that. And he also says Dean Broadhead was the CFO, I believe. So if anybody should have thrown a flag at any of the expenditures that somehow took TNA from profitable to unprofitable, those decisions had nothing to do with Hulk Hogan. They didn't have anything to do with me. Not only could we not influence those decisions, we weren't even aware of them, but they are trying to rewrite this whole narrative because TNA got the opportunity to do so, to rewrite their story and resurrect their reputations at the expense of other people, one of whom is dead. It's total bullshit, and it should be so obvious. I made the analogy, and it maybe wasn't the best one. And I know you didn't live it, so I'll just recap sort of what I positioned to him. Dusty was always viewed in the wrestling industry, and specifically in JCP, and more specifically by Jim Crockett Jr. himself, as being a visionary. He had the big idea. He's out here geniusing. And one of his ideas was a Great American Bash Stadium tour. So they would book like the Redskins Stadium, and we're going to put a ring in the stadium, and we're also going to do a country music act. But by the time you got everybody there and had a different level of production for an outdoor stadium, and paid for that production and the stadium and all the talent, and you booked the country act, hey, it maybe looks great on paper, but in the end, it was hemorrhaging cash. And all of a sudden, the CFO popped out and said, hey, we are millions of dollars in the red. And nobody threw the flag along the way. Dusty would years later say, the hell wasn't on me. I had an idea. They approved it. It wasn't my responsibility to run the P&L. And that to me made sense. Like, hey, it's his idea to come up with ideas, but in the end, somebody else is going to be the person who is, and I don't mean this dismissively, they're the bean counters of, hey, that sounds like a great idea. Can't afford that. I don't know what did or didn't happen. I didn't live it, but it feels like Eric is sort of playing a similar role to Dusty here. Hey, we had ideas, but we weren't privy to P&Ls. We had no operational control, that sort of thing. That was on Dean Broadhead's and Dixie Carter's shoulders. You lived it. Where's the rubber meet the road, Jeff?
I mean, I just chuckle at all of that. It's 100%. And I said this, and I don't know how many times I said it in the interviews. Ultimately, under Dixie's leadership, it was all on her shoulders. But if you think that she had the Nasty Boys and Orlando Jordan and just go down the entire list of talent they brought in, Hulk and Eric, that was their idea. So if he wants to walk that line, I just chuckle. He's your partner. I don't think there's any upside. You're going to get my comment regardless. I think it's best we move on because and then he said, trying to revisionist history rewrite. I'm like, God bless you, Eric. I mean,
well, I don't know that that's aimed at you. I think that's aimed at Russo.
Okay, it is what it is. But I mean, revisionist history. The fact is, Dixie Carter pulled the power play, brought Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff in. They influenced. She made the final decision.
That's right.
They took it on the road. They said, the hell with the Orlando soundstage. They brought in the Nasty Boys. They brought in this talent. They brought in that talent. They wanted to switch creatively AJ Styles. They got rid of the six-sided ring. Dixie is not a booker. She's not creative, all that. It's 1,000% true. It all rests on Dixie's shoulders. Eric and Hulk were the two biggest influencers.
No doubt.
I think that came across very clear. But it chuckles, and I think at the end of the day, and in the doc, my line about giving the greatest gift of all, of desperation, they moved that up in the episodes as if I was a part of me starting TNA. I wasn't given the gift of desperation until October 17th, 2017. When you're faced with, if I don't change my life, I'm going to die. Karen talked on it. My last bender, if you will, Hendersonville's Finest visited this address 3 different occasions, and there's really no reason for me to be alive. And so that's why I say I was giving the gift of desperation. And that gift of desperation is being able to wake up and look yourself in the mirror and be not just honest with the world, be rigorous honest with yourself. And you say, hey, Jeff, what is my role in this today? What is my role in the success and the downfall in life? You can say it TNA, Global Force, WCW, WWF, your relationship with your dad, your relationship with your kids, your relationship across the board. What is my role? What absolutely is my role? And that is the gift of desperation that's given to me. And it's called rigorous honesty. I don't think Eric has the ability to look himself in the eye, because he commented on a show that he hasn't even watched. And he's saying that he's dancing on no operational control, as if he did nothing wrong. I mean, he was a part of the power play, whether he wants to say it or not. He knows exactly. I was in Spike's offices the following year in 2014 when it all went down. He became the executive producer. BHE did. I mean, to just go on and on, it's just, you talk about, come on, guys, get honest with yourself. I mean, Russo made the comment, which, Conrad, you fucking point taken, dude. You just had to go there. Russo saying, "Oh, nothing really changed. Always wrote the show." Oh, really, Vince? Is that it? No. I mean, you were a part, and yes, Vince did what Dixie said. Everybody wanted their job. I've said it over and over. Wanted their job, and I get it. But Rudy Charles, Danny Engler's fired, Dutch's fired, Cornette's fired, Savio Vega's fired. The whole list goes on. Vince was standing tall and writing the show, and they broke up the Main Event Mafia, and on and on and on. It all is what it is. It's again an emotional bandwidth, but again, my gift of respiration is maybe the greatest gift ever, because I can look myself in the mirror and go, I screwed up so many times, and I'm here to stay. And I'm very grateful for every experience that I've had. And you know what? There is no such thing as a perfect booker. There is no such perfect thing as a perfect human being. I screwed up, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm grateful for every bit of it.
Roll Tide on that, man. I love that you've got such a healthy approach to it all and a view on it all. And when you think about the power play, I always come back to, it felt like, Dixie was going to do whatever it took to get Hogan involved, or was it more about to get you out of control? What do you think was the real driver there? Like
ego. I mean, Conrad, I know where you're going with that. Yes, it was, she wanted to run the show. And again, not every person, she's not the first person to get in this business and say, "Oh, this is so easy. Let me do this." She found out the hard way.
Yeah.
She listened to the wrong people.
It's a shame too, because, and I made the analogy to Eric that, I feel like at one time Dixie really, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But do you think Dixie ever bought in and thought they could really compete with WWE? Do you think she really believed in her heart of hearts that TNA was going to be competitive with WWE?
She believed every word that came out of Hulk and Eric's mouth.
But your strategy, and again, I don't know that we've ever said
I'm positive Eric Bischoff, I'd be willing to bet. I don't know that. I don't think Eric and Hulk ever thought that. I think they were there to pick up a big fat check.
Well, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
And that's on Dixie, that she's not business savvy enough to know that the entire list, again, that's where, I think, but I'm not going to get off my side of the street. But the reality is, just all of them can say, yeah, I was there to pick up a check. That's it.
Of course.
But
I framed it to Eric like, for better or worse, before Crockett tried to compete with Vince and he made some silly moves. Let's buy the second jet. Let's get the office in Dallas. Let's buy the UWF. Let's run the stadium tours for the Great American Bash. Those expenses and the financial debt created what you would call the financial death spiral of Jim Crockett Promotions. And I think it was because he was trying to compete, or allow Dusty to convince him maybe that he could compete with Vince. And I think you were probably content to be like your dad had. I mean, your dad became a multimillionaire from running a profitable P&L from a wrestling company. Maybe it wasn't a global wrestling company, but he had a profitable business. So it feels like when Dixie made that decision to try to this is what it takes to compete with Vince. To use a Southern phrase, she threw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
I said it to Bob Carter the day that I went out there, Labor Day weekend, 2002. What is it? I said, we're an alternative.
Yes.
My family has made a lot of money for multiple generations on being the alternative. I looked at those DVD buyers, the Action Marvel in the early days, Midway Video Games, international buyers, Richard Dennis, RDA Associates that was selling our television show around the world, our positioning, our marketing assets, the data, the look at it. Hey, this is different. How are you different? 4 different divisions. Oh, we got this division called the X division. High flyers. Oh, we're knockouts. No, we're serious ladies wrestling. Okay, what's this NWA? Okay, the lineage in the early days was from 1905. I could go down the whole kind of. We do have a tag. I mean, just all the on and on and on. The alternative. That was the entire thing, and that's why Cornette. I think they used a sound bite on that, but when you get into that sound bite, because I've been asked that offline. What do you mean? I said, no, at the end of the day, the TNA LOL came from Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff becoming WWE Light. That to me is where it all really rolled out of. There was no such thing as a hip factor. Eric went on, multiple quotes. What is an X division? I don't understand that. Oh, in 2026, it's a main event style. 6-sided ring. I saw
no doubt.
A 6-sided ring. You asked, I think you chuckled about, don't tell Bischoff about Penta. I mean, that like Eric still doubling down on that. Bless his heart.
Well, I mean, I think that was straight out of the doc. But again, he was saying, hey, if you're going to use 6 sides, use it. That to me showed, hey, he had not seen that you guys have been running lockdown and 6 sides of steel. I mean, you had used it, but he hadn't watched the program to know that you had used it. And he also made a comment on the show where he said, a wrestling company is never going to be hugely successful running in a sound stage. It's never going to happen. It's never happened. And I understand his point. He's saying from a major league WWE level, but respectfully, WCW themselves only did that for 4 or 5 years. I think they made their first dollar of profit in 95. So we'll barely count that one, but we all know they made a lot of money in 96, 97, 98, 99 is debatable. So you're talking 4 or 5 years where WCW made a profit, but otherwise a lot of wrestling companies, almost all the territory companies, were successful and profitable running out of a soundstage. Now, were they publicly traded in multi-billion-dollar corporations? Maybe not, but it does feel like Dixie, in an attempt to, when she saw maybe on one page, on the one hand, I've got Jeff Jarrett and we can have a profitable wrestling business, but I've got to compete for the power, or I can try to make a swing for the big fish, if you will, and land this whale Hulk Hogan, because it was Hulk and Vince that built WWF. And I think she found out that there was a lot more to it, maybe, than she imagined.
You think? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, to build, Eric's studio stuff, it just the lack of knowledge of just the very basics. I mean, at the end of the day, when business dictates itself, had we stuck around, who knows, we could have grown into it. Maybe not, but you don't go throw money away just to get on the road, just like Hulk and Eric influenced Dixie. Let's take this bad boy on the road. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, you mean we actually have to pay bills? It's just a joke.
It's interesting too, because you take a look and you draw comparisons to AEW and you see that, hey, AEW is making money and they're touring. But boy, if you looked at it, from as a startup, when AEW was first starting, if they were self-funding, boy, they were losing money hand over fist in order to get up and running, because it takes momentum. And as you always say, time takes time. And if the Carters weren't really committed, because that's the thing that always sticks out to me. I always wonder, when the Carters were like, hey, no, we're all in on this. Hey, y'all flew out here commercial, y'all take the jet back. It feels like we're selective when we want to flash the cash, because we've got some people who are saying, oh, we can't afford to pay you. And other people, it's like, wait a minute, how are these the haves and the have-nots? That's not the case in AEW.
No, and the thing that, in the doc, and I get it, I've had the conversation with Evan, the real falling out, and I'm going to take as much blame as need be. And my father took his part of the blame. But when we got an inclination that the Carters were scratching their head and, hey, what do we need to do? We went and found, and I researched the entertainment company, Big Three. They were attached to Savage. And we brought them to Nashville, and Bob Carter completely disrespected the gentleman at the table, and by proxy, my old man. That was really the dividing point of the relationship between Jarrett and Panda. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That's what really put into motion, and him going to WWE, and that, that whole story, and him calling me, and I knew that I'm like, all right, I'm not leaving here. And my old man thinks, but he can go back to construction, and I didn't want to go back to construction. So we had the falling out, but that's a part of the storytelling. I get all that, but that's where, looking at it and knowing we got X amount of dollars, we got to survive and all that. Hell, you look at where, the different venues today. I mean, you tell me AEW Beach Break, that is a music amphitheater. That is an alternative. It looks cool. It's great. Do you think it costs as much as the arena in Tampa or St. Pete? Hell no. You look at the Boston venue, you look at here in Nashville, all the different kind of things. You got to get creative, and you can do that. And that's running a business. That's why just the nonsense that, some people, anyway, Conrad, I really wanted to be positive today, and you didn't want that today. I can tell.
Oh no, that's not true. You were terrific, dude. I think this has been a fantastic episode, and we're not done, boys and girls. We've got a very special guest coming up. We're going to be talking about the Jeff Jarrett collection, but man, if you can't get enough TNA, we're going to close on a high note with some lost long ago footage that Jeff had his socks knocked off with. Check it out, but hang tight. We'll be right back after these words. This episode is brought to you by Blue Chew. Measure your days, not in minutes or hours, but in boners and rounds with your woman with Blue Chew Gold. Blue Chew Gold is better sex than a tablet. They combined 4 ingredients into one powerful solution. 2 ingredients get you hard physically, and 2 support arousal and desire in the brain. It works fast and it lasts. Guys can now have a complete experience in the bedroom with Blue Chew Gold. There's a reason Blue Chew is the #1 brand for better sex. Experience it for yourself right now at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Right now, when you buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get the 3rd for free with the promo code MyWorld. That's promo code MyWorld. You'll also receive an additional 10% off plus free overnight shipping on your first order. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's pod and the bedroom. Oh, Jeff Jarrett, it's my favorite segment of the show. I love talking about collectibles and memorabilia. We call this WrestleWorth. Think about it almost like Antique Roadshow for wrestling. And we want to hear from you, man. If you've got a fun wrestling collectible in your home office or your man cave, and you wonder to yourself, I wonder what that's worth. Well, there's only one way to find out. Send us your picture, send us your story. We'll share it with our pal from Heritage Auctions and find out what it might be worth. And we're going to be taking a look at some of Jeff's items today. And Jeff joining us again, our pal Tony from Heritage Auctions, fresh off of Fanatics Fest. Tony, how was NYC? How was Fanatics Fest? How are you, man?
It was amazing. Fanatics Fest just keeps growing and growing and growing as years have gone on. And to see that many people go through the doors was amazing. A lot of families together, a lot of younger people getting into these collectibles. It was great to see huge crowds from start to end. Also with the World Cup going on and the final being in New York, there was a lot of excitement level and a lot of wrestling. Superstars were there. Some of the wrestlers were the first ones to sell out the photo ops. Rhea Ripley was there and she sold out right away. So the interest couldn't have been higher in wrestling. WWE was there, had a great setup. They had the ring entrance where you could do your own entrance. Now, it took hours to be able to do that, but a lot of people, a lot of interest. It was great start to finish, and the hobby and the sports collectible world is in a really good spot right now.
Crazy, Conrad. It's crazy to me.
Yes, it was.
Just hear what he just said. It's New York weekend, and I noticed hanging around the lake, but went across the restaurant, and every TV, it felt like a sports weekend, but there was talk of that. So anyway, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, Conrad. But Connie, I'm an old Southern boy. This wrestling business blowing up like this, it just kind of amazes me that Tony's even on the show with us again. So Tony, thanks for being here, pal.
It's an honor to be here. Are you kidding me? I love doing this, and to get to talk to Jeff Jarrett, I mean, that's a highlight. Absolutely.
Well, we're excited to have you, Tony. And of course, we're featuring items that Jeff Jarrett is featuring in what we're calling the Jeff Jarrett collection. It's all a part of Heritage Auctions Platinum Night auction. It's coming up on August 22nd. You can go register and see most of these items right now. But keep a keen eye, because over the next month or so, people are going to be bidding, and you've got about a month out. Last week, we featured some really cool stuff, some legacy stuff, including that gold jacket, the iconic gold jacket that Jerry Jarrett wore to the ring for what we believe to be the very first scaffold match. Mr. Jarrett invented it. And if you just Google image Jerry Jarrett, you're going to see him wearing that particular jacket. And of course, when it was Jeff's turn to step between the ropes, he donned that same jacket. So yes, it's a collectible. It's real wrestling history. It's also a family heirloom. We also featured the 1994 Jeff Jarrett jacket that he used for all those famous vignettes when he was first cutting his teeth in the WWF as JEFF, JARRETT, the world's greatest singer. And now part of that wrestling history can be a part of your personal collection. Everybody and their brothers talking about TNA still because of Dark Side of the Ring. Well, what about one of those dusters that Double J wore to the ring when he was the NWA champion? That is up now, available as well at HA.com, including some old trunks. I mean, you want to talk about some OG trunks. How about these trunks with the simple JJ? You notice those are the classic K&H if you're a longtime wrestling collector or you grew up watching wrestling. Hey, maybe you didn't know this, but almost all of your favorite wrestlers wore K&H tights. Here's a part of real wrestling history, but we've got two very special items and a lot more modern. One I think is really iconic and related to you, Jeff, because, and I have busted your balls on the program for years when I'm just busting my buddy's balls, and I call them Bob Vila glasses. But in reality, I think they're shooter glasses. I'm not a sports shooter, but I know that that is a thing. And boy, you were shooting quite a bit with that microphone and that guitar in your hand. And we've got these iconic glasses that you signed on the stems. And I know these are from the 2000s. Jeff, is this the WWF era? Is this the WCW era? What can you tell us about these?
Well, and I had, I had a box that I always carried. Kept at home, but I would grab different colors out. And I'm pretty sure these made an appearance in both promotions, but I wore those quite a bit because when the Slapnuts came out, the Slapnuts coloring, the black and the yellow, I really stuck with yellow. Your favorite, Connie. There it is. So these would, you and Tony are too much, but there they are, folks, in the corner of the ring with my WCW version of that guitar. Weighed all of about 6 ounces, but the big gold belt is there. And yes, sir. The Bob Vila glasses. Tony, do y'all list them as Bob Vila glasses like Conrad?
No, they do not. They're listed as 2000
change it, though.
No. Match worn and signed sunglasses from the Jeff Jarrett collection. Of course, if you grew up as a Jeff Jarrett fan or a WCW fan, I mean, how cool is this? I mean, that locker room in that era of WCW, call it 99, 2000, probably one of the greatest locker rooms and rosters in the history of wrestling. And there you saw, I love that we were able to photo match it with a shot of you wearing not just a world title, but in my opinion, the world title. These are up for you right now at HA.com. You can just cruise over there, type in Jeff Jarrett, you'll see it. Tony, I love that, we can photo match these. We know that they were on Nitro. We know that they were on Thunder. We know that they were on pay-per-views. And it really is a signature piece. I mean, sunglasses in wrestling are not a new thing, but this particular lens color, I think, is unique to Jeff Jarrett. That's what makes it such a qualifying characteristic for me. What would you estimate the value of an item like this to be, Tony?
The estimate on this one's going to be $3,000. And what I like about it so much is, yes, a lot of people want the jackets, want, the trunks, but this is such a cool accessory because when you think of Jeff Jarrett, you do think of those unmistakable sunglasses. He had some of the really wild ones in the early WWF days of his career, but these just really stand out. And you've got him with that championship belt and the guitar in tow. I mean, that's just classic Jeff Jarrett right there. Obviously, the Slapnuts T-shirt. You've got everything going in the right direction on these, and these are kind of cool. You could put them on a head mannequin, and they're going to look really, really good. And you might be surprised at what these sell for. I think these are going to sell really high, and because they're so unique, and it's just a little different piece of his career. But anytime you can put that visual right next to the item like that, it helps a great deal. And again, some variety to the collection. Yes, jackets are great, trunks are great, boots are great, but this is kind of a neat one, and I think a lot of people are really going to gravitate towards these sunglasses.
It's also very affordable. I like that, we don't just have the really high dollar items. This is going to be more affordable. And to your point, very easy to display. As a longtime collector, I've had a variety of different wrestling masks. And I found I could just go on Amazon and buy a kind of a cool, stylish head, slide the mask over it, and just throw it on a shelf in my home office. And it looks fantastic. I love the idea of doing that here. The way I chose to display that in my personal collection is I would put a picture of the guy wearing the item behind it. So the idea that you could have a picture of the world champion wearing these glasses behind the glasses really gives you the full complement. Again, you can go grab these right now, or at least start your bid at ha.com. I want to be clear. This is not eBay. This is a real auction house. This is Heritage Auctions. This is America's auction house. So you'll need to register. So don't wait until August 20th to do that. Go ahead and register now. You can even get updates when things are happening and watch what you're looking for and stay on top of it. That all happens at ha.com. But going to even more recent, Jeff, and, I have often said on this show, and I don't know if you take it as a compliment, but I mean it as one, that you're like the freaking Forrest Gump of wrestling. Like, hey, he was everywhere, man. This guy was a part of the Four Horsemen. He was a part of the NWO. I can't believe this is a sentence, but he was a part of Bullet Club. And Bullet Club became the thing in Japan. I mean, it really turned the volume up in Japanese wrestling for New Japan. And we saw that get so popular in Japan. Bullet Club shirts wound up in malls here in America without real national television. It became the cool thing to do. So when they booked Double J to go to the Far East, guess what? He donned a Bullet Club jacket. And we've got Jeff Jarrett's personal Bullet Club outfit. So it's not just the jacket, it's the full tracksuit. And this is kind of cool because when you think back to New Japan, you realize that, hey, they had only talent who had these sort of track jackets. And I remember seeing something like this in ECW. And I think maybe some of the guys in AEW have picked this up, but these track jackets were a big part of New Japan, were they not, Jeff?
Oh, huge. And Conrad, you've always joked with me, Forrest Gump and all that, but I got to kind of relive some of all that just last month at Forbidden Door. Like I usually do early in the afternoon for 0 hour. I was out kind of prepping, looking through the matches and getting my head on what we may or may not talk about. I got a tap on the shoulder, and it was none other than Tanahashi. And we chatted briefly, and we were talking about that. And somebody standing there like, oh, hey, you hit him with the guitar. And I was like, yeah, them damn Bullet Club boys influenced me into that. But we had a good time about it. But, yeah, AJ Styles and Doc and Carl and, oh, boy, that Bullet Club photo, and we'll have to get one coming up. But there's a couple of different Bullet Club photos that it was a short period a time in my career, but I still kind of pinched myself because that came out of nowhere. And I was very aware because of the Wrestle Kingdom 9 and good old JR and promoting that event. And I just knew how hot the Bullet Club really was at the time. It transcended, it just transcended because the organicness and obviously the level of talent, but we were in a different, I guess you could say, arc of the professional wrestling business. And he was just red hot. And when they came up with the idea, yeah, we're going to put you in the Bullet Club, and they kind of joked, yeah, you're going to be because they had gotten grown. They're like, hey, you're going to be like the office member of the Bullet Club. So a lot of fun.
What's really cool too is, and I know there was lots of different versions of the Bullet Club, but this is the Gallows, the Anderson, the AJ Styles. And of course the AJ was really the connective tissue.
Yes.
And it was AJ's run as the world champion in New Japan and the leader of the Bullet Club that really opened the door to him becoming the WWE Hall of Famer and world champion that he is now. No disrespect to TNA, but WWE did not rush to sign AJ Styles fresh off of TNA, but they did after his work at Bullet Club in New Japan. Really cool item. I mean, think about this as a more modern version of the NWO. It was clearly influenced like that with the hand symbols and all that. And to have one of those guys with their original sort of, you had to be in the club to get this tracksuit. This is a really cool item, especially if you love Bullet Club or New Japan or Jeff Jarrett. What would you think a tracksuit like this, Tony, would be valued at?
We're going to do an estimate of $2,000 on the tracksuit. The thing which is kind of neat is you're pulling from a lot of different directions, New Japan, Bullet Club, Jeff Jarrett fans as well. So, I mean, you're really pulling from a pretty wide range of collectors. And, I think sometimes we all forget. I mean, wrestling is a worldwide phenomenon. It's not just in the United States, not just in Canada. It is a worldwide thing. And Japan has been so instrumental in developing wrestling through the decades that this one's going to be kind of fun to see. Is the winning bidder in the United States? Is it overseas? Who's going to actually win this? And it'll be fun to see. A lot of these items, it's going to be fun to watch, view the progress of it. And Bullet Club, there's a lot of collectors, a lot of fans out there, and I think this is going to perform really, really well.
And to note, Conrad, the pants do come with this, right, Tony?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely, they do. And Jeff, you did a wonderful job of signing every single piece. Did it in a great spot. I was going to mention before, those glasses, you signed it in the perfect spot. Sometimes guys will sign them like on the lens, but you actually, the way you fit your autograph on those glasses was absolutely perfect. You can display it and it's not covering the lens. So,
and you can wear them. That's why I did it. I'm like, I folded it, looked at it, but yeah, you can still wear them.
You can still wear them if you want, but you sign them on a good spot. And same as the Bullet Club too. People love to have that autograph on. It gives it a layer of authenticity. And this one here, and what I like on the Bullet Club is the advertising on there as well.
Yeah.
I love seeing that advertisement on there because that's something that they usually don't do, on things that you can buy over the counter kind of things. So special piece from a very great faction. And we're excited to have, again, the variety of his collection from the beginning till now. You've kind of got something from every era. And I love having that with this collection, kind of something for everybody.
It all happened on August 10th, 2014. That's when Double J joined the Bullet Club. He would be a member of that group until the Tokyo Dome show in 2015, a real part of wrestling history. And you can't get these jackets. You had to be one of the boys, and they don't make these anymore. This is autographed by a legit member. All of these items available now for your viewing pleasure. A few more to come your way too. Go register right now at ha.com. And keep an eye on these. Tony, I can't thank you for all the time, man. This was this was fantastic.
I love doing this. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Fresh off of Fanatics. My man is dedicated. I love it. Appreciate you, Tony.
Keep me busy. I always say that. Keep me busy.
Thanks, Tony.
Man.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, Jeff, we got to talk about Mars Men. I know that everybody these days is talking about high cortisol in your body. A lot of us maybe didn't know about that. Maybe you haven't been doing a bunch of research on it. I want you to know Mars Men has. I'm 45, and I'm going to tell you, a few years ago, all of a sudden, it feels like stuff that used to be easy, all of a sudden isn't anymore. And nobody talks about it. I don't know why guys don't talk about this, but if you're feeling like you're exhausted all day, somehow you're having trouble falling asleep at night, maybe your stomach is holding on to more fat. Maybe you just feel more irritable or less motivated. Or, hey, does this ring a bell? What about being mentally drained more than you think you should be? If none of that makes sense because you feel like you're doing everything right, it's just because your body isn't working like it used to. Now, a lot of guys like myself, we used to think, well, these are all separate problems. But the truth is, they're all linked to the same root issue, high cortisol. Now, what is cortisol? Well, it's your body's stress hormone. It's supposed to spike when you're under pressure and then come back down. But modern life, like the screens and the work deadlines and the finances, well, man, that keeps your cortisol jacked up 24/7. And when your cortisol stays high, your body actually prioritizes stress hormones over testosterone production. So when you're all stressed out, your body is creating less testosterone. And that's why your energy, your focus, your sleep, and your physical recovery are all suffering. That's why I started taking Mars Men, and I think you should too. Most of the products only focus on one side of the equation. It's going to help you support those healthy T levels, have more energy, more stamina, either stress reduction or testosterone production. But Mars Men is different because it uses natural ingredients to support healthy testosterone production while also helping your body better manage those cortisol levels. It works to give your body the healthy hormonal balance that it needs to get you back feeling like you did in your 20s. No weird stimulants, no synthetic hormones, just a clean formula designed to help you feel like yourself again. By the way, the quality is legit. It's made right here in the USA, and every batch is third-party tested. You're going to love the way you feel. I feel less stressed. I feel like I've got more mood stability. I feel like I have more consistent natural energy. By the way, this is not like drinking a cup of coffee. It's more of a steadier sense of drive throughout the day, so you're not going to have that crash. I'm sleeping better than ever. I'm telling you, my wife even noticed the difference. I give 100% of the credit to Mars Men. Maybe my favorite part about Mars Men is they put their money where their mouth is. They give you a 90-day money-back guarantee. What's that mean? It means there's no risk. Worst case, you don't absolutely love it and you get your money back. But over 91% of users reported higher energy levels, myself included. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website and go see for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners can get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. All right, Jeff, now it's time for our main event. And to say I'm excited is an understatement. The world has been talking about TNA. We've been talking about TNA, and we have got something very, very special. And it all is thanks to a very special guest. And Jeff, this is a guy you've known for a long, long time, since the very beginning of TNA, way back in 2002. We're talking about the one and only Mr. David Weber. Mr. Weber, welcome to the show, kind sir. How are you?
Wait. Conrad, don't start off on the right foot. Let me do the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to my world. None other than my longtime friend, Mr. Mortimer Plumtree.
Thank you.
Affectionately known as Morty.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. You can all sit down now.
Yeah.
Oh, Morty, all kidding aside, I cannot thank you enough. Conrad, we have stayed in contact via email through the years often. I'll let him share whatever he wants to share, but we've always stayed in contact, but I have not seen him. And I cannot wait to find out this story. We've emailed. I said, hey, let's try to get him on the show. We got him on the show. I don't know the story that he's about to tell us. So Conrad, I'll throw the show back to you, but man, Morty, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show, but maybe more importantly as it is for you, the light bulb going off and saying, hey, wait, I don't even know what the story is. Take it over, Conrad.
Yeah, here's really what I want to start with. I'm sure some of our listeners aren't familiar with the OG original TNA days. What was your role in TNA? How did you get involved originally? What the hell is a Mortimer Plumtree?
The possibilities are endless, really. You know, I had been working on the independent scene around the Midwest for, I broke in 94, and I had been schlepping out tapes to WWF, WCW, and in the late 90s, I had connected with Jeremy Borash, who had started hosting a radio show Saturday mornings in the Twin Cities, Wrestling Radio. And that was kind of what broke him into the scene. He had Bob Ryder as his guest host, and every week different guests would call in. And it was through that connection that things really started to happen. So I had sent Jeremy a tape years before. And I didn't know anything about TNA starting up. He just gave me a call, I think in January or February of 2002, and said, "Are you still interested in doing something on a big level?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm great, anything." And he said, "Well, I can't talk much about it now, but I just wanted to check and see if you were interested." And it started from there. I think it was about February or March where I got a call from Bob Ryder saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing. We're starting this company, and we're thinking of bringing you into kind of in an Andy Kaufman sort of role. We're going to have you manage a large-sized woman for the intergender championship." And I'm like, "All right, this is going to be fun. This is going to be cool." And, as it is, you wait a few months, and because I didn't have great success with either getting in WWF or WCW, I thought, yeah, it may happen, it may not. And then in May, Bob called back again and said, "All right, we're doing this. I'm going to send you over some contracts and sign those and send them back." And he said, "So the plan has kind of changed. You're going to be managing a tag team called the Johnsons." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Richard and Rod." Okay. And they're going to be in full flesh-colored bodysuits. And I'm like, am I going to dress up as a testicle? And are they going to roll me down the ramp? I seriously was wondering, what is this? And I was terrified because people work so long to get a break. And I'm thinking, I have to take advantage of this, but do I want to be with two penises? So he said, "I'm going to have Jeff call you." And Jeff called and kind of walked me through it. And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's do it." And that's how it started, was just from finding out I'm going to be managing two Johnsons.
Now, I am curious.
Great delivery. That was phenomenal.
Should I go with Mr. Weber, Mr. Plumtree? Morty. Okay. Morty, were you doing the Morty gimmick on the independents, or did you come up with that new for TNA?
I have been doing Mortimer Plumtree since 1994 when I broke in. So that was a long established name, the Harvard yuppie Mortimer Plumtree. So I'd been working predominantly in Minnesota for, Ed Sharkey's promotion, had a couple shots with Ed Schumann in Chicago, some groups in Wisconsin. So it was really around the Midwest. And in 1996, Paul Elperstein was running his version of the AWF. And so I flew in for one of those shows, ended up taking jackets from the wrestlers. Hey, nothing like a big break there. But then Tito Santana and Sergeant Slaughter also had me do a voiceover during one of the matches as Aloysius Hayes, Lord Alfred's nephew. So one of the episodes out there, you can hear me doing a really poor British accent as Aloysius.
My gosh, that's so fantastic. And of course you find yourself on this crazy train of early days of TNA. Chat me up. Is your first show in Huntsville? Is it in Nashville? How does that go? Your very first TNA show?
It was in Huntsville. Yeah, absolutely. It was surreal because, again, when you're trying so hard to catch a break and you never count your chickens before you hatch, it's not happening until it's happening. So you get the contract, then you get an airline ticket, and you're like, okay, it's got to be legitimate because they wouldn't spend money on a ticket. So I flew in with Lenny Lane, my fellow Minnesotan. We flew in together and met everybody, and it was really a very cool experience because the night before, a lot of people are meeting each other for the first time. So I meet James Mitchell, Mickey James was there. It's Norman Smiley. There were a lot of people. And then I do have a picture that I got taken with Ricky Steamboat and Harley Race and Harley's wife that that was really exciting for me, meeting everybody in the hotel the night before, and you're finally getting your photo taken with them, kind of like now we're colleagues in a way. And so that was really exciting. Yeah, that's a picture of me. Prior to going live, I'm nervous as hell, and I've got a large cup of coffee. I'm probably shaking the thing like crazy, but yeah, that's leading into that big first show. And it was just wild when we went live, and especially after the ring breaking, after Cheeks planted himself, and knowing that the two Harris brothers were under the ring pulling cables. But it was just an incredible experience. My family was watching at home, and just altogether really, really exciting.
I love that we're getting a peek behind the curtain of some OG days. I appreciate you providing all these photos to us, but you also, in that clip or the link that you sent us, there's a lot of stuff about Goldilocks in here. Can you chat us up about Goldie?
The thing people, I don't think it's been talked about a lot with Goldie is how versatile she is. She has made such a remarkable career for herself, but she's really branched out in everything she's capable of. So she's not just the on-camera announcer. She's a musician, which everybody knows, but she also makes stage clothes for people, pants and shirts and outfits, belt buckles and everything. She is also a really, really fine photographer. So when we were in the fall of 2002, we were in the original JSC building in Henderson, Tennessee, and there was a large back room that I think was just being used for storage. And Goldie was there one week, and she rented a bunch of photography supplies. She had backdrops and cameras, the strobe lights. So she offered to anyone who wanted to do shots, come on in and we'll do photo settings. So she had America's Most Wanted in there. That's a great picture. It's just Chris and James, goofing around and stuff. But she had Athena. I think Chris Vaughn, Rick Santel were there. So she did just a great job taking pictures of everybody. And the wild thing was, I don't know how many rolls she shot that day, but then she handed them out to us, not just the pictures, but the negatives too. And I'm thinking, this is a lot of money. And then you learn that she's like really thrifty and she knows how to drive bargains. So she hands us this stuff and I'm like, this is beautiful. I mean, pure promo shots there. And she did it all, no cost to anybody.
I love that you were able to find all these photos, and you've got some really great behind the scenes backstage photos. I want to sort of run through and have you sort of tell us the story of some of these individual photos. Our producer Silva will just start flashing them at us, and I'm sure you can give us some context.
How do you get into a skin tight bodysuit? You apply baby powder liberally all over your body. So that's one of the Shane twins there, powdering up, as you would say, for the full outfit. I got a really weird camera. It was brand new, and for some reason, half of them are blurry at some point. But yeah, that's him getting ready for the first show in Huntsville, right there.
Fantastic backstage shot there. Oh wow,
yeah. Toby Keith was frequently backstage. That's at the Nashville Asylum with Borash in the dressing room, and he would frequently just show up during the show and sitting back with everybody and watch. He was great.
Cool stuff, man. That is cool.
All right. Who do you think that one is? I mean, we know who the one on the left is.
I know it's Jerry Jarrett. Is that Frank Morrell?
No,
not Frank. Nope, not Frank Morrell. I'll just say the number 2.
Really? Wow. That's amazing. I didn't know he was even there at those shows.
That's Johnny Walker. He came in for one of the shows and sat in back with everybody. But yeah, that's him with Jerry. Mr.
Jeff,
Wrestling 2.
I'm curious. Was Mr. Wrestling number 2 friendly with your dad?
I'm not the historian. We probably need to dig some folks up, but my old man was the booker in Atlanta and had crazy success. I will always, because I'll get the story wrong, but 1 and 2, but I know, because I heard it come out of his mouth. He thought very highly of my old man's brain in the booking and the creative and how they built it, and just did freaking phenomenal box office success. But yes, they were big buds. Damn, Morty, man, you talk about capturing some history. That was a cool afternoon. It's like, I got to go back to work. They're kind of telling war stories, but yeah, that's a whole, what's his name? Tony Richards, who does the archives and JBL and all that. That booking story is a success story that's probably not told enough.
Yeah, you think about the money, the career that Johnny Walker had after becoming two, and it was largely because of your dad. And I think it was 74 in Atlanta.
Wow. So
And gives them
Look
the
at you.
gimmick and they fly. Yeah. And you think about, how much success he had, Mid-South, he was huge. He was huge everywhere he went.
Yeah.
It was a great gimmick, and it's because of your dad.
Now the photo that Silva just flashed up there, that feels older. Like looks like a black and white shot, and I could be wrong, but is that a young Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall? What am I looking at here?
That's exactly it. That's
Wow.
a young Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall backstage in 1986 at the St. Paul Civic Center, getting ready for their match. Cool Kurt and big Scott Hall.
Wow.
It's crazy. I grew up in New Hope, Minnesota, which is just one town over from Robbinsdale. And I think a lot of people know about the history with Robbinsdale wrestlers. And I got to see Barry Darso at the Hall of Fame. But it was something in the water with, I guess, because all these Robbinsdale guys, I mean, both Larry and Kurt went to Robbinsdale High School, Tom Zink, Nikita Koloff. They were all buds with the Road Warriors because, Mike went to one of the Minneapolis high schools, and
Rude
Joe wasn't.
Is Rude from sorry to cut you.
Rude. Yeah. Rude was also at Robbinsdale, and they all knew each other, whether it was weightlifting or football. And, Joe was in Mounds View, which is close by. So they all knew each other. And I first met Kurt. I was 15 years old, and it was at a restaurant called the Sunshine Factory off 42nd in New Hope. And he was absolutely cool. Everybody knew him. He was at all the establishments in town, Broadway Pizza in Robbinsdale. And the kind of, I don't know, ironic or sad thing about it is Kurt is entombed at a cemetery that's kitty corner from where Sunshine Factory used to be in New Hope. So it's kind of weird when I think about the area now, when I drive through it, just thinking, I met him here, now he's there. And but it was an incredible, success story. Robbinsdale had such a winning amateur wrestling team. They were well known. They had great football. The other weird thing is there was a guy who lived around the corner from us growing up. He had a lot of acreage surrounding his house that we all used to ride our bikes through. And the guy's name was Joe Pazendak. And for people who may not know that name, that was a pro wrestler back in the 30s and 40s. And he's the one who trained Vern Gagne for the ring.
Wow.
So Joe Pazendak was a neighbor. We didn't know it at the time. I was a little kid, had no idea what wrestling was about. But yeah, that was one of my neighbors growing up.
Let's take a look at some more photos. We've got a lot of great ones from behind the scenes in the early days of TNA. Hope you're checking us out on YouTube at myworldpod.com. What am I looking at here, Morty?
That is the original JSC Sports Entertainment office right there in Hendersonville. That's where the offices were located out of.
Jeff, what's in that office space now?
Yeah, that's on the bus tour. We drove past there, but that is now a dog grooming pet. They sell pet supplies, but it's a big. How do I say this? A big to do high-end dog groomers, and like all the wealthy folks run their dogs by there. But no, it's a dog grooming place. It looks very similar. I mean, they've done some stuff on the front, but yeah, that's the building that my old man. It came up on the market. I want to say 2000. So mid 2001, and he was going to buy it and fix it up and flip it. And then next thing you know, he's like, "Hey, I've already got the office." Anyhow, but Yep, that's it. That's the original. And you see how Morty called it JSE, J Sports and Entertainment. That was the original little company me and my dad formed.
Fantastic stuff. Let's keep it going here. So this is Bob Ryder. Is this a birthday party? What am I looking at here?
That is a birthday party we had for him. Jeff and Jerry and America's Most Wanted, Rudy and I, Jeremy, Don West right there in the foreground, and Goldie. Yeah, we had a birthday party for Bob, and it was just great. Jeff and Jill brought the girls, and it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool, close unit. There you go. Everyone's singing to him except James Storm, who's apparently plugging his ears. You know, he fires off guns. That's fine, but I can't listen to a little sing along. And Deborah there. Yeah, it was just great. Bob's birthday, and it was very special. Great way to celebrate with him.
Boy, nothing's changed with Jeff Jarrett. He's a Longhorn guy.
You ain't kidding.
And there's
Bob
Bob
right there.
Yep, that's in the Eagles nest. That's up in the bleachers behind the hard cams. We had partitioned off a little office space for Bob. So that's him probably printing out a contract or a revised format. But yep, that was Bob's office at the asylum.
Look at that old school phone and that big ass monitor. I mean, this is like a time capsule. Now wait a minute. Is this Rick Rude and a young Morty?
That is indeed Rick Rude. That is I'm going to say that's 86 or 87. So Rick Rude's brother, Mike, went to Cooper High School in New Hope, which I went to. After they closed Robbinsdale High School, you had two different choices. So I ended up going to Cooper with Mike Rude, and also Nord the Barbarian's brother was in my class as well. So we went out after one of the few NWA shows they ran at the Met Center in Bloomington when he was tag team champs with Manny Fernandez. So, yep, that's me with Rick Rude.
Fantastic.
There we go. There's the half blurry photo of me with Ricky Steamboat, Harley Race, and Harley's wife. That was the night before the first pay-per-view. And
in the Hilton in Huntsville, Conrad.
Yep.
Yeah. I assumed it had to be because I know you brought out a lot of former NWA champions that night. That's pretty cool. You had a who's who there. We got a few more photos.
Oh,
now wait a minute. This looks like one of the Harris brothers. Is that D'Lo Brown? Are we in a hospital here?
Okay. So yeah, there was one of the shows. It was either in February or March of 2003. That's Don Harris and D'Lo. Two separate matches. Both get stuck on the same side of the head with a chair shot. Both required the same amount of stitches. So I brought them to the hospital. There's Don with his all prepped and ready. And at one point, the nurse comes into the room, and I had my video camera with, because I was like, oh, we may as well shoot some footage for the show, see what we can get out of this. And nurse comes in the room, looks at me and says, we do not allow video recording in the ER. And I just said, I'm sorry, these are two professional wrestlers, and we're just filming some stuff to maybe appear on next week's show. And he just looked at me and said, I'm going to go for 5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes. And it was like this little nudge wink thing. Go ahead and shoot your footage. And yeah, these are pictures that I took at the ER that night with both of them.
That's classic. Wrestling, Connie.
Oh, these two. I hate to say this. I can't remember their names, and I can't read the signatures. These are two of the guys who were front row every single week at the asylum. We had a bunch of people, really great fans. Every week they were front row or second row, and these two were just tremendous. They dressed up for the Halloween episode. They just two of the great fans that we had at the asylum in that first year.
Wow, super stuff.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's it. And scene.
Well, Conrad, you've got a fellow Alabama in the back corner. Morty, you remember his name? I do. You remember his name?
Oh, I don't want to get it wrong. Was it
Tiny the Bell Ringer?
That's it. Tiny.
Named by Keith Mitchell.
And he took so many bumps for people. He was crazy. I loved him. He was great.
He's still around today. Bumming, he always hits me up for free tickets. But
Oh
that's
my
another
God,
story.
even still.
Now, here's what's interesting about this. I don't mean to cut you guys off, but this belt, as I look at it, I realize, hey, that's not a Reggie Parks made belt. I think that's the original 10 pounds of gold there.
That is the original. There was an angle. David Flair brought it in for one show. He had it in the burlap sack where he knocked somebody out with it. So before the show, and David's a fellow Minnesotan too. He grew up a few blocks away from me, you know, difference in age and stuff. But so I just said, hey, do you mind? Because Dave Milliken was a guy that I used to talk to a lot, being a belt mark and everything. And so I would invite David to the shows because he would bring different ring used belts. But I just said, hey, David, can Dave and I take a look at that? And he said, yeah, sure. So we laid it out on a table that was set up in front of the hard cam concession stand. And so we're just examining it, just fawning over it and everything. And I saw some weird scratches on that main plate. And I'm like, what is that? So I tilted it a bit, trying to get the lighting, because it was dark in the house. They, you know, checking lighting and all that stuff. So I tilt it, and from the concession stand fluorescent lighting, I can just make out KVE scratched into the main plate. And I said, Dave, take a look at this. And he goes, what is it? And I said, Kerry Von Erich etched his initials on the main plate of the domed globe. And just rapid fire starts taking pictures, all these different angles. But according to David, Rick had no idea that was even on there.
Right.
Conrad, I got to ask you, how did you belt nerds blow me away in a very respectful way. How did you know that was not a replica? Like,
well, you've got a replica behind you, but if you take a look at, I mean, it's a real belt behind you, but so it's not a mass produced replica. But if you see, Jeff, between the main plate and the Mexico plate, there should be 3 grommets there. There's only 2. And on the left side between Australia and the main plate, there should be 3 grommets. There's only 2. And you can also see that the actual globe itself is dented. And those belts, the original one was made by individual pieces like a jeweler. And the belts that, you know, the NWA used after this, that like the ones that you used in TNA, that was like a 1-piece center plate. This is actually a collection of a lot of individual pieces that have just been all sort of screwed together. So it just looks like, hey, wait a minute. I think that might actually be the real one. That actually, that belt right now today is on Triple H's wall in his office in the TK offices.
That's the one.
That is the Ric Flair, Harley Race, Terry Funk, Giant Baba, Jack Briscoe. That's the belt.
Ah, nice. Morty, there you are.
That's me. That's me as the NWA heavyweight champ. I don't know if it's in the books right now. We tried to get it listed as Mortimer Plumtree winning the NWA championship. It was a joy. It was a thrill. I'd like to thank everybody who supported me in my run. That lasted maybe 5 minutes.
Well, you had it almost as long as Tommy Rich, you know, almost.
Wildfire.
Come on, guys.
Somebody say something about 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And I saw you. Oh, look, there's Dave Milliken there with a whole bunch of belts.
There you go. The AWA one that I'm holding was the one Kurt wore when he was AWA champ. I don't know. I'm assuming the one Milliken is holding was one of the Von Erich belts. I know isn't one in Israel right now.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. And I think there's another NWA one back there that not sure if it was a Jamar or if it was somebody else, and then one of the tag belts. But yeah, lots of the cast NWA tag. Always love those. So lots of cool stuff that he would bring to take a look at.
I love this shot here. This is the OG Asylum here, is it not?
That is Huntsville, man. That is
wait, is that Huntsville?
That's Huntsville on June 19th during the afternoon. People just checking out the ring, not knowing that some 400-pound guy was about to break it. I was just sitting up in the bleachers taking it all in because I'm like, well, I don't know how long, this will last, but man, I love being here.
We're going to be throwing up some other photos that you shared with us on social this week. If you haven't already, be sure to follow us on all social media. We'll have links in the description for today's show. But I know you had some photos of Sean Waltman signing autographs for fans just outside of the building. You've got a picture of David Flair, maybe the night he brought in the 10 pounds, holding up the 4 fingers with a bunch of other Minnesota alumni. A great fishing photo with you and Bob Ryder and some friends. A photo of you and Mr. Tanay and Father Mitchell sporting a couple of beers. Just the good old days. But one of the other cool things I was really excited to see is you shared with us a format of what I believe may actually be CM Punk's first appearance on a national stage.
That's right.
Talk to us about this. What's the story with this? How did you hang on to this? Did you keep all the formats, or this is fascinating to see?
Yeah, I hung on to everything that I had, formats and office meetings, all the documents, and I know Rudy has everything too. So CM Punk got part of his start here in Minnesota at the West St. Paul Armory. So that's how I first met CM Punk, Colt Cabana, Ace Steel, Danny Dominion, Adam Pearce. So they would come up quite often, the Chicago crew, and do shows with us. So Punk was one of those people you could tell right from the beginning had something special that, it's almost like listening to a song. People try to mimic or copy other vocalists, and you can just say, well, he's taking off that person. Punk was one of those wrestlers that it was totally unique and all his own. So I was trying to get them in the door somehow, and I called Ace and Punk about coming in for a dark match and kind of coordinated it with Bill Behrens. By the time they got there, they had been written into the main show in that 3-way gauntlet match. So they think, we're going to have a dark match for Explosion, but then they end up going live on pay-per-view. And I know at first Punk's appearances weren't quite happening at the beginning then, but that spring he got included in Raven's Flock with Mickey James and Julio De Niro, and kind of took off from there. He was doing Ring of Honor at the time, but TNA had the national and international exposure that I think he really needed for people to see, hey, this is a valuable commodity and this guy is going to go places. He hasn't done anything since, really. I think that after he left TNA, nothing much happened for him. I don't even know where he's at these days.
No, next weekend, nothing happening at all in Minnesota.
No.
September 18th, 2002 is the date if you want to look that up. But that's the first time we would see CM Punk on a national stage. Of course, he was destined to be a much bigger star. And speaking about destined, I think it was destined that we were going to share this footage with you. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we've got something that knocked Jeff Jarrett's socks off. I can't wait for us to share it with you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, I can't wait for this. Jeff, I know this blew you away. We're talking about Dark Side of the Ring. Hell, the entire internet wrestling community is talking about Dark Side of the Ring. Everybody's got their opinion. And you saw all the talking heads. You filmed for 18 hours. Your wife was put through the paces for 8 hours. You did a big media tour. And somewhere right before the screening, you found out, wait a minute, they found footage from the first year of TNA behind the scenes. That had to have your head spinning, Jeff.
Evan called me. It was less than a week out, and or right at that, and he said, "You will not believe this." And I said, "What is it?" He said, "Let me ask you, do you know a guy named David Weber?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh my God, gold, absolute gold." And I said, "Okay." And I'd already seen the first three, the screeners. Boy, oh boy, did they do a lot to that. But because that was a couple of weeks out. But anyway, he said, he sent us this stuff. You're going to love it. And he just went right in. He said, there is a shot in there of you and your dad that he said, you're really going to love. He said, I know you. He said, you will cherish this. And I'm like, oh my God, wow. Okay. And he said, yeah, it's like 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then, my life busy and Cats football and baseball season and Cody and all that kind of stuff. So then I went on around and media tour and all that. And I don't want to get too far of it, but man, oh man, I've just got to I got to turn the question. So that's that. I've got a lot of questions, and I'll get more into my experience with it all. But Morty, I've got to know how and when and where. How'd the light bulb go off for you to say, "Hey, I got about 20 minutes of footage. They may like this. I got to hear this."
Yeah, I had just brought my home video camera from home in February and March of 2003, and if anything, it was more so for me just to get some kind of cherish some memories for me to take home whenever things were done. But also, there were a couple of days that there were a number of sick kids who weren't able to come to the asylum for some reason or another. And so I would go interview the wrestlers who would cut little promos for the kids, and we'd send them their own personalized tapes and everything. So in between, I was recording shots of the ring, people working out their matches. And then during one of the live shows, you see Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and I think it was Mike Sanders in the ring, but also the tech people, because if there's something really cool about TNA, it's that the crew and talent were equals. Everybody treated each other like family. So I was just as much friends with the guys and the gals on the crew as I was the talents. And so it was just something that had been sitting on a hard drive since 2003, literally. And last year, Evan Husney had, I'm not sure which episode it was, but one of the shows, I just thought, man, I wonder if he ever thought about doing a TNA show. So I emailed him last summer and said, hey, my name's David Weber. I worked in TNA the first year, and I have some behind the scenes footage that if you ever do a TNA show, I think will come in really handy. And he said, no, that sounds great. There's something in the works right now. Let me connect back with you when I know what's going on. Well, about May or June this year, and I hear that they're rolling out 3 episodes on TNA. And I'm like, wait a second. I've got this stuff. It would be really cool for a show. So I reached out to him again. He's like, oh my God, I forgot. How quickly can you upload it? And let me take a look at it. And within just a few days' time, I uploaded it. He loved it. We signed a contract to use it. And they had already really put the shows in the can, all 3 shows.
Yes.
So he's like, no, there's some really good stuff in here. So you see through all 3 of the TNA episodes, some of the footage that we shot behind the scenes. And it's just really cool to see it finally have some life off a hard drive that it's been sitting on for 23 years.
Blows me away. And I don't know, Morty, if you even know this, Evan is from Minneapolis.
Yes.
But anyway, Conrad, no coincidences, only convergences. What about that damn story, Connie? That blows me away. Thank you, Morty. I mean, just very cool.
My pleasure. I agree. I mean, especially, and I didn't realize, man, I never sent this to Jeff. The footage of you and your dad for me is special to watch, because you two working together through all of that time. It was really amazing to see. I mean, your whole family was committed to the project. And for good reason. I mean, you made a heck of an investment in this baby. You're taking out credit lines. I don't know if you're mortgaging things, but your butts were on the line. You were putting everything into it, and your whole family being involved in it. Jill painting the asylum, her brother Randy, her dad, your brother and sister, Eddie in the back. Everybody was hands on, and it was so cool to see. It truly was a family affair. It wasn't, I think sometimes people get this, and maybe it's the Vince McMahon character. Everything's about money. And I just never felt that way. I felt like, yeah, I mean, we're all trying to make a living here, but Jeff and Jerry were creating an opportunity for all these people, whether they had been in WCW, WWE, ECW. They were giving people a place to work, and they were so committed. And seeing Randy and his dad every single week, they were doing carpentry, and then they were doing this, and then they were figuring out how much cyclone fencing do we need to build a cage around the ring. It was just amazing seeing that kind of commitment from an entire family. You know, and you can't help but want to, you're inspired to help and want to do more yourself because you see what they're doing just to give everyone a chance.
Wow. How about that, man?
Well said. Can't wait for us to roll this beautiful tape. But before we do, I think we've got to share one of the more classic Double J photos. I've heard all about Club Jarrett. I feel like this picture is as close as I'll ever get maybe to Club Jarrett.
Oh no.
It's a backstage photo of Jeff Jarrett with not one, but 2 10 pounds of gold. And there, he may or may not have something fun between his feet right there. Is this the asylum? Is this, where are we here?
Yeah, go ahead, Morty.
No, you go, Jeff.
Yeah, this is when you walked into it. And this is where, man, you talk about history. So when you look at the front of the asylum, they've got basically 2 front doors, the left and the right. On the left side was general admission when you sold tickets back in the old days, the territory days. And on the right side was ringside. My grandmother, Teeny, she always handled ringside tickets. And so when we set it up for the asylum, because we had so much production and TV trucks, and we had to have 2 satellite trucks and the backstage area, and you saw the makeshift office of Bob Ryder and all this kind of stuff. So when you walk in the building on the right side, right there to the left, where my grandmother sat for years, Conrad, and sold ringside tickets, that became my dressing room / office / finish room, whatever it may be. And I have no idea why I have 2 belts on there. We obviously had a double. I don't know what it is, but Conrad, it was like clockwork most of the time, Burt Prentice, but because my rule was, at the end of the show, them Rocky Mountain, they were delivered at 9:01. I said, I don't want them in here during the show, but when the show's over, and when the show was over, be there. So, Conrad, that is a prelude to the Club Jarrett. But there you have it. Toby would always slide in there and say, "Where's it at?" I'm like, it's in there, but I'm not touching it, because sometimes they deliver it early, and he would go in, and I said, yeah, have all you want. So there it is, Connie. God almighty, Morty, you having those pictures, it just blows my, like, I'm not going to bust your balls because I'm so grateful. But when Evan had it and aired and all this, I'm thinking, shit, why didn't Morty show this to me first? But I'm glad you did. It's funny though. That's all worked out. Very cool.
Hey, speaking of that, Morty, before we show the footage, there's 2 photos that I want to get to the bottom of, because I've heard about it, but I've never actually seen it. And these feel like they're out of a time capsule. It's a photo of you and a young upstart comedian. I don't know what he did, but I guess his name is Chris Rock. What are we looking at right here?
But by the way, I'm the one on the right, if you can't, if you're trying to differentiate. Yeah. So, you know, we found out, I don't know, Jeff, was it a few days before the Wednesday night pay-per-view that Chris Rock was going to be filming some scenes or needed a wrestling ring and an audience for his movie Head of State?
So real quick, he called his production, not him, but, you know, the production company shooting the movie Head of State. They called the WWF, and the WWF was going to make them jump through. Like, they're like, all we got to shoot is like kind of 5-10 minutes, just a very, very quick scene. We don't need anything other than all this. And WWE was way too much red tape. They called us, and I'm like, can we do it after the show? We do a pay-per-view. Oh yeah. So go ahead, Morty. But so we're shooting the scene of Head of State, and we asked the audience to stick around, and there's Morty on the right.
Yep. That's me. And you know, it was a great time because obviously the audience was thrilled they're going to be in a feature movie as well. And there was some guy ringside that was wearing a 3-piece suit, blue. And I thought, okay, is he like, you know, some special Secret Service guy or what? I think he was just somebody who heard they were filming some political movie about a guy running for office, and he dresses up in a full blue suit. And
wow,
he was just a fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, what a memory you got. That's true. Damn.
That's fantastic. I am curious, Morty. Did Chris Rock do his own stunts?
No. They had to bring somebody else in there in the black t-shirt is his stunt double, and he's talking to the Truth, Ron Killings, about what they're going to do. And I think he was just really thrilled to be there. He was clearly a wrestling fan to begin with. But yeah, just talking to Truth there. And that was the man who took the chair shots, although they didn't use a rubber chair for him, or they did use a rubber chair for him. They didn't use a real folding chair. So I was kind of disappointed that he didn't get the full experience.
Want to grow your business with the power of podcast advertising? Reach loyal, engaged audiences through trusted host endorsements across the Podcast Heat Network. To learn more about advertising opportunities, email dave@podcastheat.com or visit our website at podcastheat.com.
Now it's time for our main event. I'm so excited to see this. I'm so excited for us to share this. And this is just from your personal collection, right, Morty? Just running around backstage with a camcorder.
That's it, exactly.
And I'll lay out, Conrad, for the most, because you'll be better at asking questions and narrating all this. But it's fascinating. When I watched this, when I got it, I was just blown away. I'm like, damn, he captured some. It's very, very cool. It's as behind the scenes as you can get.
Well, Morty, we're going to let you drive here. This is your footage, and our producer, Silva, anytime you want us to pause or track it, that's what we'll say whenever we want to hear some audio. And let's take a look at TNA behind the scenes from 2002. Here we go.
All right.
March
so this is
2003. What, 3 in the morning?
3 in the morning. That's Borash right there. So back in that time, after, the Health South deal went south, Jeremy was the one who was producing the packages for the show. So every Tuesday he would take tapes that Keith Mitchell had given him and sit at his computer all night putting together the pre-tape packages. So that's him at his Sony Vaio with that big old CRT monitor. And he was quite a fan of Red Bull. Don't know if he still is. Diet Coke. He had another few hours ahead of him.
3 in the morning, and he's at the office.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's listen.
Earlier in the week. Yeah.
Okay, this is me coming back at 9:30 in the morning.
Morning, sweet
He's
cheeks.
still there.
Huh? Good morning, sweet cheeks.
Hello, Hornswoggle. How are you?
He's still here.
Where was I last time we were talking?
Last time.
Oh, wait, I was right here.
Still at it, baby.
This is part of the documentary,
Yes.
the final days of Jeremy Borash.
Exactly. This is going on my personal website right before the big nude scene.
Oh, jeez.
Hyperventilating and score. We'll see you in a few hours live on pay-per-view.
His face is ready for television.
I don't know if he
All
even
baby.
got a chance to take a nap before the show or not.
No, he didn't on Wednesdays.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is the asylum here. And this is a Wednesday, so he was working through the night on a Tuesday night into a Wednesday morning. Let's track this.
Yeah.
See some of the guys working out in the ring and stuff, and it's pretty much what it's like. D-Love's here tonight. Dusty Rhodes is here. Got a pretty good crew in the house, so hope you enjoy the show. And everyone is thinking about you and praying for you.
Tell you what, if I have any pull around here, I'll make sure that the Harris boys get their asses kicked. Okay. Thanks.
Look at Dusty. Oh, there's Jerry.
Bert.
Eddie Martin's behind my dad, my grandfather.
Yeah.
And there's Brian Christopher.
And Brian Christopher, yeah.
I think that's AJ right there talking to Goldilocks and way back.
Yeah. And Sonny Siaki.
Sounds like there's K-Dog, Conan.
Yep.
Sounds like Mike Sanders on the mic. And there's Hacksaw.
And this is just shot from the floor in front of the hard cams. But that's what it was like in the building. I mean, the lively crowd, they were tremendous every week.
Jeff, this is the side I sat on.
Which
where
one?
Morty's shooting from right here.
Where he's shooting from?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
occasionally I'd be in the bleachers on the left-hand side where Hacksaw just went, the far side, opposite the ramp.
Damn, that's crazy.
I was never across from the hard cam, but always either right here or up in those bleachers there.
Wow, oh wow. Lively crowd, man. They were definitely the unsung hero MVPs that showed up in a few ice storms, but on a good hot day, it was rocking and rolling.
So are we at the Eagle's Nest now looking down?
Yeah, that's up in the Eagle's Nest area, just shooting straight down there. Jeff, do you remember the night 2 of the 3 generators out back went out during the show?
Yep. All kind of stuff, production
Yeah.
issues. Burt Prentice was just in there. There's Chris Harris. We just recently had him on. Headcount, man. It's amazing you captured this stuff because it's as behind the scenes as you can get. Real footage.
A few feet from there, Jeff, is right there where Chris was just walking. That's the first place I met Dusty Rhodes in 2004.
First time ever?
First time ever. I was coming around the corner and there he was. And I was like, oh my God, Dusty Rhodes is here. It's like I'd seen a ghost. America's Most Wanted here getting ready.
Yeah. Old Dream would walk in the back door. I think call time was, I don't know, noon or 1, but he'd get there 1:30 or 2. He liked it anyway. He'd get there and sit down and he'd just wait for Bob Ryder to walk over. He had to get his check. He got the check when he walked in the door. That was our handshake deal. And it was delivered every week. Oh, it's funny how I remember.
And he really was pulling up in his old pickup truck.
Yes, sir.
Old pickup right out back.
There's
Bill
Bill Behrens.
Behrens. Yep.
He still looks the same.
I got to see him at the Hall of Fame too. I hadn't seen Bill since I think 2003, but it was great seeing him.
Andrew Thomas, now the lead director of AEW. Mike Posey, who's also an official, works for AEW on the crew, refereeing. Man, he's a young one.
That's Jill's dad.
There's Randall Gregory. Yes. Conrad, you've probably never seen him.
That was your father-in-law?
Yeah.
Wow.
Lead carpenter, if you will. That's a cool shot. Shot through the trussing, truly backstage, right by the cages.
What do you think attendance was on a night like this, Jeff?
They always because you can see how many rows that were underneath the hard camera. That would sometimes be 20, 30 people, or it'd be 100, 150 people, all back that. That's about 1,200, 1,500. Maybe not that many. Because there was, oh gosh, 3 sides. I'm going to go. Go ahead. You remember?
Yeah, I think it was around 1,200 because the fire code only allowed.
Because the way we had it set up, because they were footprint and the Connie, Mr. Silva, that's my favorite shot right there with my dad. There's one earlier on that, but the elephant door, Conrad, is right there in front of the table. So we blocked that, and so that was a fun day with the fire chief and all that when we first went into this, because we'd ran it for years, but we didn't block entrances. There's David
Flair. Yeah.
But on this fire code, so because the big elephant door, which is obviously a huge exit in case something went down, and then we kind of blocked one where the dressing room was, so they limited us, but we filled it up. It always worked out.
So this is up in the Eagle's Nest again, and there's Daphne. I miss her. She was wonderful, amazing red, Sunny, and I think Jerry Lynn. There's
I saw Julio De Niro.
Yep, and April Pennington.
I think is that Kid Cash way back? No, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I think it's the 2 SATs.
That's it, because that's it.
Yeah.
Damn.
And the thing is, again, I don't know if people really have an idea of how hard that South loss went. We were trying to get sponsorships and other people on board. So everything you're seeing when they would add lighting, just everything they added to give it a better and better look all the time. I mean, that's coming out of, the Jarrett's pockets.
Yeah.
Everything went right back into making it continue. And then Panda coming in, but that was an incredible investment. So the reason TNA is still going, it's because they stuck it out through that.
Jeff, because you were constantly reinvesting, besides when you first broke in, are these the leanest years financially of your career because you're reinvesting it all?
Are you kidding me? Exponentially, yes, by far. Startup businesses, it can be so rewarding, but for sure, leanest by far, Connie. Just these shots, Disco and Mike Sanders. If you'll see the little platform, how small that we made them, the cameraman, ringside cameraman Conrad, because there was a debate how big to make the platform. And again, those guys were like, hey, man, I just need a small one. And then there was hey, no, we need to make it a little bit bigger. And then the dives, everything was so compacted in there. Like people on top of people, but the environment that we had, you were there, Conrad. Yoma has to be there, but look, there's 7-8 rows of ringside underneath our camera. I know the amount of beer that was sold during those Asylum years, they made a boatload of money off of that. But
I know that the TNA haters are going to take issue with this comparison, but as a kid who grew up in the South, this was like the modern incarnation of our ECW arena.
Oh, the amount of times I was told that in this era in a very nice way
Yes.
And which is cool. I mean, look, every building has character, and for the historians that really understand the territory, this is where Andy Kaufman, this is where, when you really get down to it, see a Lawler main event in this building, it's Dundee, many of people in that era. That's the greatest match I've ever seen in my life because of the emotion of the people. But the Fabs were red hot.
Who's sitting by your dad there?
Right to
That's Ed.
It's Eddie Marlin.
Yeah.
His father-in-law. He married Eddie's daughter, Deborah, my stepmom. But yes, that's Eddie Marlin. There's the cages, Connie.
Morty, you were a young man back then. Do you remember the Cage Girls' names?
Couple of them. I mean, we had Lollipop and April, Penitin were the two that then got involved in angles and everything. They were just great. That's how they started getting involved, and just awesome people to work with. And also I was going to throw in too, the Asylum. We had a great security team, local guys that were working. Remember Gordon Dunaway but
Gordon's still around.
Yeah, I saw him recently on something. I'm like, oh my God, Gordon. And he doesn't look any different. And I'm like, I'm getting old and fat, and there's Gordon looking great.
Who are these camera operators here? Do y'all know those guys?
Oh God, the one working the low hard. Oh man, they were both great guys. Go ahead.
Was that Jackson, or was Jackson ringside
Mike Jackson,
that night?
look at you, dude. Boy, your memory's unbelievable. But look, Conrad, well, you knew this, but literally the TV truck was right out the back door that would roll in there. That's Jill's brother, Conrad. Randy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a real, we may want to lay out here.
Let's listen. Yeah, let's track it.
I had to haul this poor little cat. I couldn't find a home for it. Tried everything. He made decide he wouldn't take it.
Let's pause for a second. Just pause for a second, Silva. What are we listening to right now? I mean, can you contextualize, Jeff? Where are we? Is this backstage at the fairgrounds?
So if you're looking, if I'm at the hard cameras and I'm looking at the ring, directly to my left, you would go past the concession stand, past the ticketing area, and you'd go into the Tennessee State Fairgrounds executive offices, and that is their meeting room. Seated about 12 or 14. This is where we had every Wednesday morning our production meeting, and me and my dad would sit up top, and then you had Mike Tenay, Don West, the announce team would be to my immediate right, and then directly across from them would be the producer and director. That's Mike Miller right there that you see his back. Mike Miller directed the show. Keith obviously produced it. And then, sometimes the guys would change up seats and everything, but then the agents would roll in. Tony Falk, him and Bill Behrens would work the go position. So they would be in there. Tony never liked to sit at the table. He would sit off. I would rib him. Tony, you're sitting up here with me today. No, I'm not anyway. But this was our weekly production meeting. And for Morty, on the one hand, I'm thinking to myself, how did Morty, thank God you captured it. But back in the day, I'm surprised I didn't say, Morty, shut the effing camera off. We ain't recording, just the whole kind of scenario. It's so cool. And I do want to lay out, because there's some gems in here, listening to Mike and Don talk. It's so cool that you captured this.
And that's one of the things, and I was aware of it. At the time that I was recording, this was stuff just for me that I was just going to have at home. So, I mean, after 23 years, and as much as now people talk about production meetings and everything, I'm like, okay, maybe. But yeah, at the time that I recorded, I was well aware that this footage is going nowhere.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Great.
Yeah, I was still
so cool.
protecting it.
It's
23
so cool.
years.
It's so cool.
Let's hit it.
I guess there's a majority of stray cats running around the neighborhood. And I'm trying to. I tried everything, so I finally had to put it in a little cat carrier and haul it out to the farm. And there's an area where there's like 3 or 4 farms out in this one little spot. I figured she had a fighting chance out there. Still get you.
And then you'll be shocked when I tell you what I
This
take.
is this level. It's
Tell me what
There's
you
Tony sitting back there.
Yep.
Ask me about a 3/4 inch tape. 825.
And this is Conrad before the meeting actually got started. We're all kind of moving and getting, this is the meeting before the meeting.
Calm down. And everything we do in life is an exercise in relativity.
I love it. Your dad imparting wisdom.
And there it is. Everything, I've heard it. I could elaborate on this speech.
Yeah, I'm almost to just about at it.
We needed it.
The NWA music.
The last 2 or 3 weeks.
AJ's video wall with music
It's
in it.
almost like it's becoming second nature.
Out of the NWA theme or out of the
Doesn't have to think about, do I have to?
The amount of times the three of us, that's JB, Keith Mitchell, and myself, the amount of times we had discussions over the next 9 years, 10 years.
Somebody had a dream to say I'm sparked to the business.
No, he's gonna come out with it.
Yeah,
Because
let's
you
play it.
know
Let's
that
give
it's
him
cool.
5 seconds before it comes out.
And then there you go, he's gonna have a phrase that nobody's going right down.
Because
Right back to Tony.
There it is.
and don't you realize now that you're just now really getting with it?
And Tony's incredible. I mean, as many years as he's worked, and is he still running his shows down there, Jeff?
No, but he's around. I see
Okay.
him. I see him often.
I love Tony.
Is that what it was? 'Cause I know he was talking an hour plus after the show about going to the hospital and stitched up. He thought the Health South guy, or whatever the guy was that was here, he thought that he'd take care of it, but it still was a mess.
Ooh.
Don, Mike referencing a Health South guy at the building.
I heard that.
Can I say the magic words?
That's Richard's house.
Hey, my dad had, this was kind of,
Which maybe explains 1.4 billion.
so Conrad, that is kind of when a lot of the folks began to understand just kind of how wealthy Richard was.
Yes.
His house, some kind of flyer or something, is interesting.
There's Mickey in the left corner there with Trinity and Cash in red.
Yep.
Young Mickey. That's the other thing too that I really admired about her. After the shows, she would get back in the ring with people and just work out, and
Yep.
you never get to see the breadth of somebody's skill level. But she is so amazing as a wrestler, and she could mix it up with anybody if they needed her to.
Conrad, there was Perry Saturn, Elix Skipper, obviously Chris Daniels. There's JB. There's, just Mike Sanders, Disco.
Little Guido.
There's AJ. That's the AJ in the T-shirt.
David Young in the ring.
Yep, Sonny Siaki. Just a cool little visual here, Morty. It's just crazy how there's Dutch over there on the far right.
Yep.
Modern day WWE, AEW. It's the kind of the same deal that we do every show day. Everybody get in there and think things through. And
There's one ugly man.
Bob Ryder, you up there?
I'm riding you up there.
Hey, somebody's taking a picture of your back.
Sarah Lee.
Yeah, because that's the part he lays down on the most. Thank you.
Okay, let me tell you something, okay? I didn't just break in the fucking business today. I broke in yesterday, all right? I've been around the fucking block a day. I know what's fucking going on, okay?
Watch the eyes. Watch the eyes.
No. I have no idea where the hell Bob Ryder is.
Still hasn't slept.
Yep. Amazing Red. Very cool. Here's the Dutchman and Shark Boy, Donnie. And Shark Boy unmasked.
Big Ryan. What was Ryan did a couple things, didn't he?
Yeah, a couple of different gimmicks. I'm trying to. Big old boy.
The thing about Ryan is he looked great, but he was too nice.
Yeah.
And so Bob and I would always try to, okay, you got to get mean. You got to, because gonna have him be a heel like Lord Humongous. He couldn't be mean.
Couldn't get aggressive enough. I agree.
Ryan Wilson, is that who we're talking about?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Great guy.
I think that's a cool shot. Just, the production that rolled in, TV truck, 2 satellites, the old Tennessee State Fairgrounds, lot of content.
The boys parked back here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw Larry Zabisco buy weed off a guy in a clown wig here. It's pretty awesome.
Well, there you go, Connie. That's a little fun fact. I'm sure it wasn't the first time there's a drug deal done on Tennessee State Fairgrounds property.
That's just all the bins of cables. I mean, the amount of cable running in and out of that building every week, incredible.
This is what Vince Russo actually does.
Get ready, you sons of bitches!
That's for a dusty match, too.
Vince is
There's Jody.
back from the farm.
Larry just went out over that way. Finally, a job he's qualified for.
Right there's the office, Conrad. That door.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine Evan's eyes when he kind of saw this. Right here, because I've seen these people get down to them, though. It is a young AJ Styles going over a finish, which is pretty cool.
That was a young Christopher Daniels walking towards us there, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's Alan. There's Alan Jones himself.
I won't give you to finish. Right. I'm going for this final tap. When he goes up, he climbs the rope to do it. All you gonna do, you're kind of like your hand's gotta be right behind you. Like you come running up, he snaps right here. Yeah. Okay. It's like you almost touch you.
I don't know why he's telling him what he's going to do before the match. I mean, I don't understand all that. Why would you tell your opponent what you're going to do?
This is some of that phony scripted stuff. Morty, me and you did real stuff.
Oh, God, yes.
We didn't do this stuff.
Yeah,
you came in.
Whenever Jeff lost the belt, it was a work, but when he won the belt, it was a shoot.
Always. Look at them concessions over there. Oh, there's Dean Roll.
AKA
Sharky. You're gonna be mad that we unmasked him, showed him.
When we booked him for your event in Nashville and I saw him in real life, I had no freaking idea who it was.
No way.
I mean,
I love it.
You know, when the first time I met Penta in Phoenix, same thing. Oh, here we go in the hospital. You just told us this story. Here we go.
It was supposed to be glassy at one time. Hey, here's the deal. We're going. They're wanting to go tuna fishing. Tunas are running. It's great. Let's go deep sea fishing. This is where we at, Biloxi or somewhere. Yeah. And they break out. It's the .com guy. I mean, well, Bob Ryder and hey, so
The
they
.com
break
guy.
out. They break out. Okay, guys.
Oh, that's when the nurse walked in right there.
Good stuff.
My gosh, what a stroll down memory lane. This was absolutely fantastic. Jeff, that's got to give you, I don't know, is it bittersweet seeing that? Are you excited?
I am elated because, as you can imagine, there was so much that went in, just watching Evan and being on the peripheral of Evan and his entire team and him calling and saying, hey man, I'm really excited, but I'm specifically excited about this shot that is in there of you and your dad working together. I don't think there is another shot that exists of us. I mean, there's a few pictures and they're online because me and, me and dad didn't take a lot of pictures together. There's some early wrestling stuff, but as far as us actually doing what you saw in that production meeting, and it was when we're on headsets, and my dad, he's like, hey, I'm going to listen. I won't say much on headsets. You just run with it because this is kind of your thing and you're more comfortable in it. And in the Memphis days, there was no such thing as a headset guy. He had one on top of the monitor that he'd talk up to the truck, but for the most part, it wasn't too much intensity because you're doing it in a new studio, and they just kind of went block things. You didn't have to block it. In this, it was, 7 cameras, and Keith, we're running and we're cutting time or adding time. And, there was just much more into it. But to see us kind of work together in the go position was only, 20, 30 feet away, but it was so damn loud. Sometimes anyway, so that capturing that, Morty, is, for me personally, is priceless. So
Good.
I appreciate it. 23 years later, it's God almighty. And one thing, Conrad, I don't think we've mentioned here is that, Morty talks about getting a plane ticket, and I'll follow up on that. When JB showed it to me, the Mortimer Plumtree reel, if you will, I'm like, that's a talking son of a bitch. Do it. But it went from that to, hey man, can you move down here? So Morty went from a managing the Dicks to a full-time staff member. That's why Morty was so involved. He worked with Ron and Don. He worked with JB. He worked with my dad. Morty was a part of the nucleus of year one. He decided to go back home, raise his son. There were much more bigger priorities and all that, but that was something that we didn't really mention, that Morty lived here and dove in head first for, were you here a year?
I was here a year, or there a year. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Cool.
Well,
Yeah,
incredible,
thank you.
man. I can't thank you enough for finding all of this and for sharing it with us. What are you up to these days? And are you still a wrestling fan?
I help out with a local organization called First Wrestling. Great group of people. We're running a show, actually several shows over SummerSlam weekend. We'll be at Mall of America, First Avenue, and work full-time gig is communications, which goes back to actually TNA. It gave me the opportunity going in there. I didn't want to just be a talent. I wanted to work behind the scenes and learn television production, and the experience and the opportunities that the Jarrett family gave me has gotten me to where I'm at now in life with doing communications. So thanks to them, I make a full-time living doing the work that I learned how to do there.
I don't think, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but Conrad, couple of years ago, I don't even know where it was, maybe from time to time, he'd say, "Hey man," via email, "you mind if I put you down as a reference?" And I said, "It may kill you," but I'm like, absolutely put me down. So it's cool that we've stayed connected, but man, oh man, how everything kind of comes full circle, and that your footage was such a really cool part of the dark side that really told the story. So very cool.
I couldn't be
man.
happier. Yeah, I couldn't be happier, and thank you.
I hate to keep you, Mr. Weber, but I do want to ask. It's been on my mind the entire time as we're watching it. I'm sure you had a chance to see. What'd you think of Dark Side of the Ring on TNA and Jeff Jarrett?
I thought it was amazing. I didn't think three episodes were enough. I mean,
Right.
That first year alone, my God, you could make a mini series out of all the behind the scenes stuff that happened. Relationships being built, but relationships being broken too. How Jeff and Jerry made it through that first year, I have no idea. But again, I mean, because their whole family was committed and into it, that right there was the nucleus of the whole thing. And I thought Evan and his team did amazing work. I'm a real fan of the whole series. So it was great watching it, knowing I was part of that. I was there that night. I remember that. Yeah. Great stuff.
It was great stuff, and it was much better thanks to you and your contributions. One of the unsung heroes of the early days of TNA. Yeah, a round of applause. How about that, Mr. Weber? Thanks for jumping on with us, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you guys very much. Really
Appreciate you,
Thank
Morty. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you right back.
Thanks, man. How about it, Jeff? You know, we promised something cool. We promised something people would be excited about. I think showing this behind the scenes footage is maybe the thing you've been most excited to share since we started My World.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just because it just came out of nowhere, and it really, to me, as I don't say as a fan, but to dive into, you know, I screwed up so many times. Well, I'll continue to screw up in life, and you know, the dark side episodes scratch the surface, and Evan, like, you know, me and Morty just both said it, that they did their very best, and they told the story. But the story that I think, and I don't say it's glossed over because there's so many things left on the cutting room floor, but that first 2 years, 3 years was the real formulation. And look, I'll give Dixie Carter a boatload of credit. You know, she signed up as a PR agent, didn't have a clue about wrestling, and that's okay. I knew that going in. I'm the one who hired her knowing she had never been to a wrestling match. That's okay. But from Dixie, the Harris brothers, Mike, Tanae, Don West, Keith Mitchell, Mike Miller, the entire crew. I love that Morty said that we were all equals because we looked at it. Just all that. It really was a small group of individuals that just would not be denied. And, you know, they're talking about, 24 years, 25 years, TNA is going, had ups and downs. But to me, the stamp of the brand was defined in the first 24 months in so many ways. And I think that was what was a little peek into that, the day in the life of a Wednesday episode, and Morty captured that. And I am very grateful for that because it kind of does show this is where it all started.
Well, we're excited that we got to revisit it. We're not done talking about TNA. We're going to keep the conversation going next week. Love to hear from you. Hit us with your feedback. Leave us a comment below and tell a friend about myworldpod.com. Of course, you can listen to us anywhere you enjoy podcasts, but on a show like this, you really need to see the video. And we've got more great stuff coming up next week here on the program. Of course, we're going to be talking about the fallout from the big AEW pay-per-view this weekend. Hit that subscribe button, turn on a notification bell, and tell a friend about My World.
Peace.